Okay. Well. Let's see if we can get some people in here. You know, it's crazy, man. I had a video that went out yesterday, and it had quite a few views, but it's like, dude, I get that they banned my account, but like it seems like I'm able to pick up quite a few people on here as well. So, gotta love it. Hope everyone's doing well. Having a good day. Jesus returned in 66 AD. Lord of Lords, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, yep. You got it. All right. Bro, you got to check out Cryptopsy. Oh, yeah. It'll pick up. Absolutely, Ethan. What's going on, Anita? How you doing? My God, man. Dude, Tyler, I'm learning the solo for Tornado of Souls by Megadeth. That solo right there, dude. I'm like at 85% right now with learning it. It's a good one. It's a good solo. It's fast as shit, but it's definitely a good solo. It really is. It's a fantastic solo. Resurgence of an Empire by Cryptopsy is so good. I'm gonna have to check them out. What's going on, Chris? How you doing, man? I see you popped up in here. Let's bring Chris up, guys. Good morning, Chris. How you doing, man?
I decided I'm going to go after David, his theology, his futuristic end times conspiracy theology, and just rip it to shreds. That's what I've decided.
That's what you decided? You just do a whole series on David Vos, on his understanding, and
I only need two videos, and I can destroy his entire theological concept. The second video, I can destroy his entire eschatological view.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. James is asking, are you a Christian or are you not a Christian? Well, it depends on the standards of Christianity. We don't believe that Christ is returning. We believe that he already did return. Um, at the end of the day, man, yeah, Rust in Peace is a great album. Tornado of Souls is amazing. Absolutely. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Yeah, absolutely. So if you humble yourself and you realize that this book wasn't written for you, then you're going to understand the book. All right? All right. I totally agree that the Bible says this. I'm an atheist, but I agree with your statement. It's good to be honest, isn't it? It's good to be honest with things. It truly is. Hangar 18 is comprised of like 20 guitar solos. It's crazy, man. Yeah, so, yeah, guys. Chris just said that he's going to go ahead and destroy David's whole argumental system. In other words, and I can't blame him. I really can't. I mean, the guy's a little bit crazy, as it is. But yeah, thank you for admitting this. I don't know if you realize this. Is it? Oh yeah, absolutely, James. James, you're on my backup channel, man. My permanent channel got banned. I've been teaching this for like 5 years. I had over 150,000 followers, but got freaking banned because someone threatened me on my live. Yeah, so Jesus will come back in the clouds and never. No, he won't. Jesus isn't returning in physical clouds. That's not what the Bible's speaking about. What happened? That's why I followed you. Someone knew my apartment number. They basically came out and threatened me. All right. So Christ I loves. Sorry, Christ I loves. Christ already returned. All right. Christ already returned, and I said something about bringing a certain type of. I said that's the only way you're taking me down. And TikTok flagged me. Next thing you know, this is all just your interpretation. Christy Lubes. Christy, this isn't my interpretation. This is the Bible. This is what the biblical scriptures say. So right now, I'm in the process of, actually my book is being published right now. It's called The Order of Melchizedek, Unveiling the Priesthood. All right. Anita said, took me a few times passing by your lives before I understood and knew you were speaking truth. Yeah. Christy, if you know the Bible, you can come up here and have a conversation then. You're more than welcome to come up here and have a conversation. I don't mind having a conversation. But I'm going to tell you this much. What it meant when Jesus was talking about coming in the clouds, he wasn't talking about literally returning on physical clouds. All right? All right. So TikTok terms of service reads that you can't lose your account for someone else's actions. Well, it's being appealed right now, so hopefully my old account will be resurrected from the dead here soon. But I guess we're going to go ahead and see. We're going to go ahead and see what's going to happen. But clouds in the Bible are not a representation of literal clouds. It's a representation of judgment. This is judgment language that's being used by the Roman armies to actually come against Jerusalem and the people of Jerusalem. What's going on, Chris? So you're going to make 2 videos on David Vos, and I'm going to go ahead and post them on here and then on YouTube. And because after what he said about us being Satanists and like being a part of a cabal, and then he attacks my own personal life to sit there and say my dad is like high up in the military and he got AWOL'd because
that was
it's
really kind of it right there. It was all just, come on, man. You're just spouting craziness because you can't handle the fact that this rings true to you or something. There's something about this that just gets underneath David's skin because come on, the man doesn't listen to a word you say. He doesn't listen to a word any of us have said. He hasn't listened to a single thing. He goes in one ear and right out the other.
Oh, it's crazy, man. Well, a couple of years ago, I forgave him for this, but He sat there and said, "Yeah, my brother did what he did because my dad raped him when he was a child. Probably he raped him when he was a child." I was like, "Dude, what are you talking about right now?" And it's like you're just grasping at straws at this point. I really think him living out in the desert has made him crazy. Seriously, he has psychosis, man. All right, for entertainment purposes.
Well, I don't think living in the desert had to do with it. I think he's been that way for many years. I mean, you can his channel has always been a conspiracy kind of channel. It's been out there from the beginning.
Yeah, he has some crazy thoughts on things. It's just I don't think Jesus ever existed. Sure, he did. Jesus existed. Did Jesus also reign for 1,000 years on earth? No, because the reign of Christ was not going to be a literal reign on earth. The word there in Revelation 1:3, even before you get 19 chapters ahead of yourself, literally says that the angels signified these things unto John. The word signify there in Greek means in symbols. He wrote these things in symbols. Holy smokes, man. How can you sit there and make something literal when at the beginning of the book it tells you these things were written in symbols? It's crazy. Absolutely not.
Yeah, then you just have to figure out what those symbols mean, right? And that's not too difficult, right? Rome is the Iron Empire. They are symbolized by an eagle. The Christians are going to be saved out of Israel on eagle's wings, right? And you would think that has something to do with God himself doing something, but it's the Roman Empire, them coming in to destroy Israel. All of the Christians flee to the mountains and they're saved out of this destruction on eagle's wings.
Right, exactly. Mermaid, you're more than welcome to come up here, have a conversation. Yeah, for them to come on eagle's wings, it's the Roman armies. When Rome would surround Jerusalem, that's when they would flee. Literally, if you actually think about it, when Jesus says, "Look up, for when these things start to be, your redemption draweth nigh," I'm going to say something that people are probably not going to like, but Rome was kind of, in a sense, the salvation of the Christians, because when they surrounded them, that's when all hell was going to break loose. So,
well, in a lot of ways they were, right? They were their persecutor, but as soon as the Jewish revolt starts, they lay off of the persecution of the Christians. They go after the people of Israel and the Zealot army, and the Christians are now left alone by both sides. Their conflict now is simply awaiting the time to flee Jerusalem. When they see the time come, which is when Rome surrounds Jerusalem, they flee to the mountains and they're rescued out from the destruction. It's pretty simple if you look at it from their perspective.
Right, exactly. What's going on, Mermaid? How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing okay. How are you?
Not too bad. You said something in the comments that the Bible is. I think you basically sat there and said that the Bible is too much for you.
Too hateful?
Yeah, you're right. I don't disagree. I mean, the God of the Old Testament is a real scumbag. All right.
Well, I think the New Testament's just as bad.
Oh, okay. Please enlighten.
Well, I don't have a ton of examples, probably per se. I don't have the Bible memorized by any means. It's not my book. It's not my religion. Never has been.
But one minute. So how are you going to sit there and come against something, but you don't know what it says?
Oh,
yeah, that's where I was going to go. If you don't know what the text actually holds within its pages, within the confines of the New Testament, how are you going to even discuss it as though you understand the subject matter? You don't. You're claiming to understand something you know nothing about, and blatantly said you know nothing about.
So again, you're misconstruing what I said. I have read it. It has been.
Okay, then what is so horrible in the New Testament other than the sacrifice of Christ?
So things like endorsing slavery, things like being misogynistic and anti-woman is
Oh, you
all
mean being culturally realistic to its time period and in which it's placed, right? Are you expecting ancient people to hold the exact same moral continuity? No. See, here's the
I'm
problem.
expecting,
Here's
are
the
we just gonna
problem. No,
talk
here's the
over each
problem. Y'all
other?
expect ancient people to hold the exact same moral continuity that we hold in the modern world. And that's
No, I
not the
don't.
case.
I
Yes,
expect
you
that
do. You
God,
say it endorsed slavery, but literally every culture in the ancient world endorsed slavery.
so does that make it okay?
No, it just means that it was part of the cultural normality of the reality of their lives. That's
So
what it
should a
means.
God not know that that's not okay?
You're assuming that we think this book was written by God, and we don't. It was written by men, and that is where it sits.
Right.
Agreed.
Okay, so now when we look at this, Jesus was coming directly against the God of the Old Testament. The God of the Old Testament was the devil. All right, it wasn't even real. It was just an
It
adversarial
doesn't say
system.
that. It doesn't say that.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yes, it
Absolutely.
does.
Where does it say that the God of the Old Testament was the devil?
Christ himself says it when he says they are of their father, Diablos, the devil, the deceiver. He's speaking of Moses and the law, their covenantal system being that deceiver, their God being nothing more than a projectionary point. And he's pointing this out, that they are not the children of Abraham. If they had known Abraham, he says, they would have recognized the son, but they never, right? They never knew God. Right, because they never recognized the Son. He's saying they only knew Moses. Moses and this system. This system is the Satan that is being spoken of.
Yes. This is all over
There's a title that means adversary. It's not necessarily the devil.
Yeah, the term means adversary, right? And it's not speaking of a spiritual entity at any point in time in the Bible. Satan is not a fallen angel named Lucifer. Isaiah 14 is a taunt against the king of Babylon and has nothing to do with a winged creature fighting a war in heaven. Has everything to do with Nebuchadnezzar II placing himself in a sense above God and declaring himself to be a god and wanting to be worshipped as a god. It has nothing to do with some fallen angel. So there is no Lucifer, no Satan, no evil entity.
With that many contradictions, why worship or believe any of it?
It's not contradictions. It's misplaced understanding of
Tons
culture.
of contradictions.
No, there are contradictions in the Bible. Those particular things aren't contradictions. They're misplaced understandings of the theological precept of the text.
Okay, so when you guys get your religion figured out, then I'll discuss it with you.
Dude, I've got my religion figured out. I understand it better than you probably ever possibly could. First of all,
I don't worship it
Second
because
of
it's
all,
so inconsistent. So I have no
First
issue
of all, we're not fundamentalist Christians. So you're
Okay.
barking up the wrong tree with that fundamentalist viewpoint. We are non-fundamentalist Christians, meaning that we don't hold to the idea that the book of Revelation is about the end of the world, that Jesus died for our sins, that all of this is about some day when God is going to punish the wicked. We don't agree with any of that.
Nothing. Yeah. We agree that God is a God of love. So the book of Revelation was
I would
written
say
for
the Bible quite contradicts that.
No, not Jesus' words.
No,
The New
the Bible.
Testament doesn't. The Old Testament might. The Old Testament, however, and the New Testament are two totally philosophically different animals.
Okay,
The
well,
Old
if the
Testament
Old
is a
Testament's so
theological.
bad, throw it out. Get rid of
the
it.
Old
Don't
Testament-
use it. Destroy your whole religion, please.
Oh my God, you have no clue what the fuck you're talking about, dude.
If the Old Testament's so bad, throw it out. Get rid of it. Don't
Dude,
use
I
it.
do.
Destroy
The
your
Old
whole
Testament.
religion.
Dude, you're a fucking idiot. Just wake up and realize you're a fucking idiot.
Ooh, that was nice. What
So-
Christian are you?
Yeah, I'm not a puritanical fundamentalist, as I just said. I don't believe in any of that shit, so kiss my ass.
Yeah, so
All
one
the
thing
things
you have
you
to
just said are
understand.
against your Bible and would send you to
you're-
very bad
We're
place.
still not understanding. The Bible, the Old Testament, is different from the God of the New. All right?
Okay, so
Jesus-
if it's so different, throw it out. Get rid of it. If it's so
No,
bad, get
no.
rid of it.
You're
not
just being an
understanding.
idiot, see?
You're not understanding. Jesus is using the Old Testament scriptures to talk to the people in his day to meet them at their perspective so that they can come into a line of reasoning and understand that there's something he's pulling from in the Old Testament that was a little bit of light in the Old Testament. It's called the Melchizedek order. All right? He's pulling from that. He's bringing that in for the people so that he can meet them at their perspective, because he can't throw it away completely. This is their religion. This is what they were based off of for the past 1,000 years or something like that. Probably only 500 or so. But
yeah, so it's a way of coercion and destroying other people's cultures and bringing old religions into what they would consider a new one.
what are you talking
What
about
in
right
the hell are you talking about?
What are
I'm
you
talking about
even
what
saying
Christianity
right
has
now?
done for
No,
thousands of
you're
years.
talking about
They
what happened
created
much
and
later in
destroyed
Christianity,
other
and we're,
cultures.
dude, just because Christianity later has a problem by becoming part of an imperialistic system has literally jack shit to do with what we're talking about.
Well, the Bible endorses the things that they did.
Oh, no, it doesn't. They twisted
Oh,
it
yes,
to
it
make
does.
it. No, it doesn't.
You
But it
can
doesn't.
twist
It
it
doesn't
however you
endorse the things they
want.
did. It didn't even want to. Dude, according to the Bible, there shouldn't even be a church.
There should be no church, man. The church is over and done with. This is about humanity. This isn't about being right in a religion. God is all in all people. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, yellow, orange, green, purple, blue. When you get cut, you're going to bleed red. So at the end of the day, what this really just all comes down to is just treating each other the same. That was the entire point of the New Testament. Everything was going to come to an end in the first century church. Jesus
You're
Christ
going
was
to
going to
treat people the
return.
same, but you're going to put women down?
What?
You're going to treat people the same, but you're going to put women down and treat them as property?
No one does that. No one believes that, and the New Testament isn't saying that.
Yes, it does.
No, it's
It
not.
fucking doesn't.
It doesn't say that, man. That's not what it says at all.
You don't
right.
know anything you're talking about. You're literally talking completely out of your ass. You have no understanding of the Bible. You know nothing about what's in it, nothing about the text. You should just shut the fuck up.
The Bible and Christians have been horrible.
You should just shut the fuck up.
Centuries. It puts them down.
No.
It doesn't let them teach. It doesn't
No,
let them
you
talk.
don't understand
It
the
doesn't
text,
let
and
them
that's all there
have
is
their
to it.
hair out. It
Yeah,
controls what they wear.
dude.
All right.
I've had enough of this dude, man.
Yeah. You're gonna have to jump off. You're not intelligent enough to have a conversation around this. I'm sorry, mermaid. All right. If you don't need to study the text, but don't come against it, especially when you're trying to use fundamentalist arguments against non-fundamentalists. It just doesn't work. It's like trying to compare apples to oranges. All right. It's not going to work for you. All right. And we do have the right view. I'm going to tell you that much. Have yourself a good day. All right. Just not going to work. Just
Yeah,
not
see,
gonna work with that.
my main problem with all of these people is whether they want to think so or not, they expect the ancient world to hold the exact same moral view that we do in society today. This is why they say the things they say, like it's some I got you moment. Oh, well, the Bible endorses this. It says this about women. It yada, yada, this. Yeah, it's an ancient freaking culture. What are you expecting? You expect it to be like today? They're going to say all kinds of rosy things about how you want life to be in the modern world, how we moralistically view the world today, how they're going to not see that because it's freaking stupid to assume that these people in the ancient world are thinking the way we think today, and that by some means that makes the book itself evil.
Yep. So
I think it's just an odd conversation because it's like somebody's coming up telling you guys what you believe instead of asking you guys what you believe. So it's like it's just people talking past one another because he's got this presupposition that everything that you guys believe is of the fundamental beliefs. So it just, you know what I mean? It doesn't even look like anything constructive.
No, it's not. So I'll bring Mermaid back up here since they want to sit there and say I dropped them and not allowing them to have an answer. But if you guys have been here the entire time, you'll see that the only answers they've been given is their lack of understanding on the culture, on the system of Israel, and ultimately what is going on in the Bible. And they automatically assumed that we believe the God of the Old Testament is the same as the God of the New. This is assuming something. This is placing something on the forefront in which they know nothing about. They're trying to use a difference of viewpoint in order to justify the means in which they think. And this is the problem here, okay? Because when you sit there and say that the God of the Old Testament is just like the God of the New, that the God of the New Testament does things as evil as the God of the Old, and you can't give any examples in order to justify your means.
Yeah, I can show you where Christ speaks out against the Old Testament God, right? He says things like, a loving father, right, wouldn't give his child a stone instead of bread, right? When he asked for fish, he wouldn't give him a serpent instead. He's referring back to something that happens according to them in the Exodus. They are given stones and bit with serpents for complaining about not having any food. And Christ is pointing out that this was an evil action. This isn't something a good father does. A good father would give them bread instead, would give them a fish. So he's pointing out something about the Old Testament God that is evil. This is done all throughout the New Testament.
Yep.
Yeah. I was going to say, Mermaid, these guys don't believe that the Bible is infallible. And they also don't believe that the prophets were in harmony with one another. Like, in other words, like, they don't think that that the prophets even agreed with one another necessarily.
Well, a lot they're still in a transitionary period. I mean, Paul was even in a transitionary period. When someone sits there and tells me Paul had all his words right, he literally tells you in his own words, I'm speaking as a man right now. He tells you about his thorn in his flesh. He says he wasn't perfected until the book of Colossians. This lets you know that even Paul's letters are not inspired scripture, like people believe. All right? He is a man that is growing in his faith, in his learning, in his understanding, just like the prophets. The only one that had it right was Jesus. All right? And so like in Matthew 5:17, yeah, you want to bring up Matthew 5:17, heaven and earth shall not pass away, heaven and earth will pass away, but not one jot or tittle will pass from the law until all be fulfilled. The jots and tittles were taken from the law. When the animal sacrificial system ceased to exist, when the temple ceased to exist, when the priestly duties ceased to exist, that's when the jots and tittles were taken out of the way. Therefore, the heaven and earth passed away. You're just
right,
thinking,
which was their temple system. The temple system itself being destroyed was heaven and earth passing away. And a jot and tittle passed from the law with that, which would be animal sacrifice and the systematic covenantal laws themselves entirely removed. So jots and tittles not only removed, the entirety of the law removed.
Yeah, so the thing is, these people didn't care about the cosmological universe. They cared about their covenant. They cared about covenantal language. This was covenantal language to them. This was about their system. This was about their understanding. I got news for you. In Genesis 1:1, when it says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, that's not talking about the physical cosmological universe. That's talking about the covenant of Israel. All right? That's important to understand. That's not a fringe idea either. This was the idea of first century writers in actuality. Philo of Alexandria, Josephus, Ephraim of Syria. Yeah. The word firmament there in Hebrew is the word rakia. Every single time it's used to denote a materialistic or exilic substance. The firmament that's being spoken about in Genesis chapter 1 is talking about the ceiling of the Temple of Solomon. All right? Sorry, this Bible is not about the literal creation of the earth. It's about the creation of a covenantal people. Now, John 1:1 is different. That's a polemic against Genesis 1:1. It's talking about the Word being with God. That is talking about the Logos. That's talking about the conscious awareness. That's Greek philosophy right there. That's philosophical belief. And Chris, yeah, like you said, man, Old Testament is theological, New Testament is philosophical.
That's really the disconnect when it comes to why it is totally misunderstood. The New Testament is totally misunderstood based on the fact that they try to force it into a theological lens when it's a philosophical text. It's literally philosophy designed to dismantle the Old Testament theology.
So do you not understand that there are tons of different sects of Christianity that all disagree with everything you guys are
No
saying?
shit, Sherlock. 45,000
So,
different
well,
denominations.
Can I speak one sentence without you interrupting?
Okay, but say something we don't know.
Yeah, go ahead and talk. All right?
I'm too stupid, but you won't fucking ever let me talk. I get brought up here to answer when you guys are talking about me, and I don't even get a moment to talk. And then the first sentence I say, you're down my throat before I even finish.
All right, talk
Fuck
about the
you all.
denominations.
Fuck you all.
All right. All right.
Okay. So the entire clearly they have been hurt. Okay, that is a person that has been hurt. Really. They sat there and said that there's many denominations that disagree with us, and we're not denying that. I mean, Baptists, even preterists will disagree with our position. You guys know that, like. Mainstream preterism, Don K. Preston, Gary DeMar, these different ones, they believe that the Old Testament was something good. All right? Literally, what we are saying is such a small view, but in the future, this will take people by storm. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Josh, this is where we're not seeing the big picture. I constantly keep up on where preterism is, and it's no longer considered a minor eschatological view. It has reached mainstream eschatological view. It is considered a mainstream eschatological view. The only ones who don't want to consider it that are fundamentalist evangelicals who just don't want to accept the truth.
Yeah. Well, so what I'm saying is, so yes, it has grown, but I'm talking about our view on preterism because we're hyper preterists, and
the Orthodox view grows a little faster because it holds certain things and traditional ideas. So yeah, it does tend to grow in a faster way. Hyper preterism, however, is catching on because it's just the ultimate truth of where preterism has to go. Eventually, you have to step beyond the biblical text.
we have to. In order to thrive as a community, especially as Christians, we're going to have to step beyond this text. Guys, by the way, I want to let you know Cole is having a debate tonight. All right, he's having a debate. Who is it that you're exactly debating, Cole? I forget the guy's name, man. Forget the guy's name.
Isn't it like Godless Engineer or something?
That godless engineer.
It is. Okay. It's Godless Engineer. Okay. All right. And it's going to be specifically on the biblical text, if I'm not mistaken. So
On whether or not preterism is biblical.
yeah.
I think that's it. Is it 7 p.m. Eastern time? I can't quite remember on that.
7 p.m. Eastern time. Beautiful. All right. All right. Sweet. What's going on, Babs? How you doing? Michael says these guys go outside the Bible to justify their
Central, bro. That was my bad.
7 Central time.
7 Central. So what is that? 10 p.m. That's 10 p.m. Eastern? No, wait a minute. Is it?
8 p.m.
That's 8 p.m.
Eastern.
Okay. He must be in Chicago then. Illinois. Then. That's what it sounds like. Okay. All right. These guys go beyond the Bible to justify their belief. Michael said that? Really, Michael? Michael, we don't go beyond the Bible in order to justify our belief. We use the text to justify everything that we say. All right?
Well, when it comes to believing that everything's fulfilled, the book of Revelation complete, that Christ was speaking to that specific generation, no, we don't have to go beyond the text for that. The text itself is clearly capable of pointing all of those things out. We might use extra biblical things such as Josephus, perhaps Tacitus, a couple of other historians in the process, but we don't have to go outside of the biblical text for that. Now, if you want to gain a better relationship with God, you have to go beyond the biblical text.
Yeah, you have to. It's a must at that point. Someone playing a game, by the way? Oh, that's probably your son, huh? All right, Michael wants to come up. Michael, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm not gonna debate you guys on this because you guys are gonna strongman the whole way through. But I will challenge you guys to a debate, but under certain rules, and it has to be through Time Brokers Live, and we both go at it.
Hey, I have no problem doing that, buddy. Honestly.
Because your buddy
Not
over
at
here
all.
likes to run off feelings, and I can't do that. I
Oh
like to run off
yeah,
of
I run
scripture.
off feelings.
No, he's actually one of the most smart men, I would say, not even on TikTok, in this world. All right,
Well,
and what he has to say, lines up perfectly with the biblical scriptures. I've studied the Bible over 40,000 hours of study time, man. I've memorized over 500. I know the Bible like the back of my hand. And I'm telling you, this man right here, this man is one of the most intelligent men that walks on the face of this
listen to me.
planet.
I've talked to people like you. Oh, I have a degree. I have all this. I have all that. It's completely irrelevant. People have studied the Bible for 30 years and they still got it wrong. So what makes you right?
We use everything to justify our means with the cultural relevance, with what the scriptures say, with everything that has to do with historical narrative and context, even down to the views that they had. So let me ask you.
Well, no, I just want to ask you a simple question, Michael. Is it logical that if a man is speaking to somebody and he uses the words, "This generation will not pass before all things written are fulfilled," is it logical to assume that he's talking about a future generation?
Yeah, he's talking about a future generation.
That makes no logical sense. He's talking to four specific men, Peter, James, John, and Andrew on the Mount of Olives. He's talking directly to them.
What are we going off of right now?
He says
What's the
this
whole subject here?
generation, no, he says this generation will not pass before all things written are fulfilled. And you say that it's logical to think that he's speaking about something that's going to happen 2,000 years in the future.
Look, I could care less about the heretics that you're trying to spread
How
here.
old are you, Michael?
Oh
Michael,
no! What you mean is you don't actually know how to argue your position. That's why you need time to prepare for a debate.
Right.
No.
Michael. Before you continue on, how old are you?
I'm 25.
God, buddy, just please go study. All right.
Hey, just hear me out. Who is your father? Let me ask you the one question. And what is his name?
The Father dwells within me, and it's just God.
No, he doesn't. Where is it? Show me a verse. Show me book, chapter,
My name
verse.
is Chris, and my dad's name was Mac. And if you're asking who God is, God's
All
not
right,
a
who
person.
is God? Let me ask you that. Who is God? John chapter 4,
I just
verse
told you,
24.
God's
It
not a
says
person.
God is
It's
what? A
definitely not
spirit.
Yahweh. God's not a person, and he's definitely not Yahweh.
God is a person, brother.
No,
Ephesians
God
chapter
is not a
4
person. The Bible
states
got
that
that
God
wrong.
has a body. How do you explain
The
to
Bible
me?
got that wrong. The Bible got
No.
all that wrong.
Oh, now it's got it wrong, dude. Do you see?
Where?
Like you're
No,
taking, you're
Yeah,
nitpicking.
yeah.
You're
I'm
a cherry
telling you, the Old
picker.
Testament got a lot of shit wrong. Like tons
No,
of shit wrong.
it doesn't, bro.
Yeah.
Romans chapter
Yeah, it
4
does.
states
They
that
made a lot
let
of that
God's
shit
word
up.
be
They
true
literally
and
made a lot
every
of that
man a
shit up.
liar. Why
Like
would
there
I want
never
to
was
sit
a
there and
Moses.
listen to you?
There never was a covenant. There never was a time when there was a Mount Sinai where God gave the people of Israel a law. None of that happened.
Calm down a second. In Romans chapter 4, it states that let God's word be true and let a man be a liar.
Yeah. It's not talking
it
about
is
the Old Testament.
written. As it is written. So do you
it's not
believe
talking
in the Bible that God's word is
dude,
true? Yes or no? It's simple.
It's dealing
Yes or
only
no?
with those people, though.
Yes
It's
or
dealing-
no? It is simple.
No, it's dealing. No.
It
Let
is
me.
simple. Do you
Dude,
believe that
it's
God's
real
word
simple.
is true? Yes or
No,
no?
the Old Testament is not true. The Old Testament is a lie, straight from the pits of hell. If you want to believe in hell,
brother.
You need to let other people talk.
If you're gonna sit,
1 minute. No. Shut up for a second. If you want to have a talk, you need to be respectful and have a talk. If someone's going to sit there and say something, don't overtalk them. This is just common courtesy. So if Chris is going to talk, let him talk, and then you can talk. All right? My God, man, it's insane. It really is.
All
So
right,
who
go
wants
ahead,
to talk? Who's going to talk?
I'll talk first.
go for it.
All right, let me see your stance. What are you guys proclaiming to be? Are you guys followers of Christ? What are you guys like? I'm trying to understand. What is your belief system?
I believe in the words of Jesus, but that doesn't mean I follow the Bible.
The Bible is the word of Jesus. He is God.
No. The
No.
Bible, there's a difference. There's the
All right,
Rhema and the Logos.
So
There's a
when
difference.
Timothy 3:16 states
2
that
Timothy 3:16, that is fringe. That is
no,
basically
not
Orthodox
second,
belief,
not
buddy.
second,
Okay.
not second. It's
First of all,
First Timothy.
it's only talking about the
3:16.
Torah when it says all Scripture is God breathed. It's only talking
you
about
just
the
said
Torah.
you just said we
hold
have
on.
to be respectful and
Hold
talk,
on.
and your boy's talking over me.
Yeah.
Can
Actually,
you tell
had
your
stopped
boy to
talking
stand
at the
down?
point I
Hey,
started.
can you tell your boy to stand down and let me talk real quick, and then he can get his point across?
So go ahead and ask your part. Go ahead.
Okay, so First Timothy 3:16 states, without controversy, there is no arguing it, that God manifested into the flesh and became in the likeness of men. So God, what is it to manifest? To become something, which is flesh, a body. He came onto this world. So do you believe First Timothy 3:16? Because if you say you don't, then you really don't believe in God's
what
word.
it says in 1 Timothy 3:16 is not talking about Yahweh becoming flesh. It's talking
It
about
says
the
God.
Logos.
Who is God?
It's talking.
It says
It's not
uppercase.
Yahweh though. It's Logos. The
No,
Logos
it's
in the
not.
New
It's
Testament is not
uppercase.
Yahweh.
I can pull up King
Dude,
James
it-
version
It's
right
not
now.
Yahweh, dude.
Michael, let him talk, dude. You asked your question. Let him talk. All right.
The Logos is not Yahweh. And in the New Testament, they're not talking about Yahweh or El Elyon. They're not talking about either one of those anthropomorphic deities. They're talking about the Logos, the knowledge. The knowledge became flesh. In the beginning was the Logos. The Logos was with God because the Logos was God. The knowledge, that word Logos, knowledge. The knowledge was with God. The knowledge then became flesh, meaning the knowledge Christ possessed. Him being a human being possessing that knowledge. It's not talking about God literally becoming a flesh man.
Yeah, it is, brother.
No,
That's
it's
what
not.
manifest means. You have to go define the word what manifesting
No, the word
means.
manifest does not mean he physically,
Yes,
corporeally
it
became
does.
a human
Bro.
being. No, it doesn't.
Bro, let me
I'm a
speak right now.
metaphysicist, dude. You're wrong. I
Dude,
literally
you can
have
be
a
whatever
degree in
you
the
want to
subject,
be,
and
dude.
you're
You're
wrong.
still wrong.
Chris, just let
You're an
let him
idiot.
say what he's let him say.
No,
what he's-
you are a heretic.
Your mama's a heretic.
And
A
I'm going to pray for you,
heretic.
dude.
A
Hey, listen
heretic.
to me. Listen to me.
Dude, you know that word doesn't
You
mean
have to
anything to
understand
me.
what
You know
God
when y'all
is.
say heretic, it literally means nothing
Listen
to me.
to me.
It means
Listen
nothing.
to me.
The
Look,
word
bro, I
means
swing the
nothing.
sword every
No, I
single
want you to
day for the
understand
Lord,
this
bro.
clearly,
You do
Michael.
not intimidate me
Heretic
one bit.
All right,
means
I'm
nothing.
dropping everyone, and I'm having a conversation with this guy. If you guys don't shut the fuck up, seriously, have a conversation. All right, seriously. All right.
Tell him.
This needs to go back and fucking forth. All right. Everyone it needs to chill the fuck out. All right. And I'm gonna set a timer if I have to. If we're gonna have to be like children. All right. Let's have a conversation. All right.
Well, first,
Okay.
I want Michael here to understand that when y'all throw around the word heresy, we laugh at you. It's a joke to us. So, second of all, when we're dealing with the Old Testament and the New Testament, we're dealing with two different animals. The New Testament is dismantling the Old Testament. It doesn't discuss the Old Testament in a positive manner. It discusses it in a negative manner, Michael. It always talks about it in a negative manner. It talks about Moses in a negative manner. It talks about the covenantal system and the law in a negative manner. None of this ever speaks of these things in a positive manner. Why? Because they're not talking about the same things. Christ and the disciples are speaking of something greater than Yahweh, something far beyond what Yahweh could have ever been. They're not talking about this anthropomorphic deity that's nothing more than the creation of the priests. By the way, there was no Moses, there was no Sinai, there was no covenant. The people of Israel were never God's chosen people.
First off, when it comes to the chosen people, I can agree to this day that Israel are not the chosen people, because in Galatians 3:8, it goes to state that we are sown in the seed through Christ, through Abraham's seed. So, of course, whoever's a follower in Christ, you are the chosen people now. Now, I can agree with that.
That's not you. 1 minute. That's not you. It says in Galatians chapter 4, Paul goes on to clarify that Christ was born under the law, born of a woman to redeem those under the law. So those who were coming into the seed of Christ were those under the law. The adoption of sons were the Gentiles. But the Gentiles were ultimately a mystery for the 10 tribes of Israel that were of the northern kingdom that was split up in the days of Rehoboam.
Exactly.
So here's one thing about it, buddy.
All nations.
But Paul says the gospel went to every creature under heaven. Therefore, if the gospel went to every creature under heaven, the end could come. That's Colossians 1:23. Jesus says once the gospel of the kingdom has gone to the world, the Greek word there is akamene. Paul uses that word to justify and say that the gospel did go to the akamene. Now the end could come. Not the end of the cosmological universe, but the end of the old covenant age and law of Moses. That was the God of that world, the law of Moses. Moses was the accuser. Moses was the adversary. Moses was the dragon. Moses was Leviathan. The entire Levitical priesthood was that setup that had to be destroyed. And if it wasn't destroyed, then guess what? That would be a problem, because through the destruction, grace would come. All right? And God would become all in all people.
Yeah, Christ didn't come to create a religion.
I got a question, because we gotta build a foundation here. Now first, you guys don't believe in certain parts of the Bible. So really, theoretically speaking here, I can't really have an actual conversation with you guys because you don't believe what Romans says. So
go ahead. What does Romans
Bo
say?
is right here for the record. I am Bo,
Romans
not the
chapter
fucking
4
host.
states that let God's word be true, and let every
What does the
man
name
liar
say,
for it as
bitches?
written.
No one
when
gives
it
a fuck,
states
bitch.
God. I am God. Yes, I am.
All right,
Bo,
Bo.
shut up.
Wait,
You're
can we?
suffering a really bad
Suck my-
form of psychosis, man.
I don't even know. I don't even know who that guy was. But anyways,
Yep.
we have to understand who God is. Now, it states who God is in John chapter 24. Chapter 4, verse 24 in John. It states that God is a spirit.
They that worship him in spirit and in truth.
Yeah. So that
talking to the
spirit,
Samaritan woman. The entire
that spirit
context
is invisible. Okay, so explain.
One minute.
All right. So you just said Jesus is God, right? But
Yes,
God is
because
spirit.
he is the
But God is
express
spirit.
image. He's the
Right?
express
He's
image.
an expressed image. What does that mean? Right? Does that
Be that-
mean that he's physically formed an express image of God, like that his image as a man was the image
I
of
will
God?
answer it.
Or does
I
that
will
mean that
answer
his
it.
nature, his character was the
answer it,
image of
brother.
God?
I will answer it,
'cause-
brother. Let me answer it before you get ahead. In Colossians chapter 1, you read that chapter, it goes to explain to you thoroughly what is the firstborn of all creation. God, who is spirit, the first thing he created was a image, his body, and through that image he created the worlds. It tells you that in Isaiah 54, 44,
No,
and
it doesn't.
56. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Bring it up.
No, it doesn't.
I'm so positive and sure that you have this wrong. Bring the scriptures up. Show me.
Yeah, I'm working right now. This is why I wanted to do the debate when I'm in front of the Bible.
So when you sit there and bring scriptures up, I want to see the scriptures, because
Okay,
it doesn't say
go.
that about Colossians
All right,
chapter 1.
go.
And when it talks about the image that was created, that's talking about the image of the new world. The new
No,
covenant.
it's not. No, it's not.
It's not talking about the old
when
covenant,
Jesus
buddy.
when it goes on to say that Jesus is the express
Let's go
image.
look
It's
at
stating.
it. Let's
His
go look
nature
at it
and his
and see how
character.
you're
It's not
lying.
talking about him physically being the express
All right,
image of
explain
God.
to me in
It's
Genesis
talking about his
1:26.
nature and his character.
Wait,
Genesis, by the way,
hold on.
is not about the creation of the
Hold on.
planet. It's about
Yes, it is.
No,
yes,
it's
it
not.
is. Stop, bro.
It is not about the creation of our planet.
Come on.
It has
Stop.
nothing to do with the creation of our planet.
can't-
Genesis
I
has
can't-
literally nothing to do with the creation of
I
humanity.
can't have a conversation with you guys then. If you guys don't believe in the Bible and what it says, then I'm not going to sit
No,
here and
I
have a
just know
conversation.
that this is about the creation of the covenant of Israel, that it's an allegory, and that Adam and Eve aren't real people.
Stop. You got to
One
stop
minute,
misleading people.
You've got to shut the fuck up for a second.
Dude,
One minute.
Michael,
you got
I
a
think you're the
spirit
one.
full
You're
of
the one
pride.
misleading, dude.
I'm going to drop everyone seriously at this point. I'm done with it. I'm not
I'm
dealing
gonna
with
leave.
this like the other TikToks. All right, we're going to have a fucking civilized goddamn conversation, or people can get the fuck off. Seriously, I'm being dead serious. All right, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I did it with my other TikTok. All right, I was graceful. I'm not doing it anymore. All right, I'm not doing it anymore. All right. They come up here to talk to me, to have a conversation, because I can be fucking peaceful about it. All right? Here's the thing, man. At the end of the day, Do you guys want to have a fucking conversation, or do you just want to bicker like a bunch of children? My God, man.
Wait, may I say something, son of
Josh, I want to have a
God? Is that your
conversation, but
TikTok name?
the
Or
people
what's
don't
your
let
real
you
name?
talk.
Chris, like maybe there's a delay or something. I don't know. But ask your question. Ask your question, Michael. Give me 5 minutes with him. 5 minutes. That's all I ask.
No, actually,
5 minutes. Go ahead.
Hey, son of is that what is your real name? Can I call you by your real name?
Man.
All right, Josh. Hey, Josh.
Go ahead.
Josh. My name's Michael, by the way. All right. I would like to honestly, sincerely, and genuinely actually have a conversation with you later on in the day. But I really don't want to have your boy right next to you because he likes to interrupt a lot. I would love to have a one-on-one with you later on today after I get off work. I really do.
Michael, 5 minutes. Come on.
I can't, dude. I'm driving right now, and I'm trying to.
Michael, you can't have a one-on-one conversation with me right now.
I would love to have a one-on-one, and I want to have a one-on-one with you. But can we please do this later on?
1 minute. Where were you saying this was in Colossians? First off,
go into Colossians. Go into Colossians chapter 1. It should be verse 15, where it goes to state that Jesus, the Son, is the firstborn of all creation.
1 minute. Let's go ahead and read it. Who hath delivered? Let's go back to verse 13. Who hath delivered us from the power of darkness and hath translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins. Sin is transgression against the law of Moses. I hope you know that. Who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature? For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are on earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
1 minute.
Wow. Did you just hear him?
1 minute. The Bible says that Christ died from the foundation of the world, okay? Or the worlds. There's only two worlds. The Mosaic world and the covenantal world of the eternal age, all right? So Christ died way before that because he died in a priesthood. He was already set up for a priesthood that was going to be an eternal priesthood according to Hebrews chapter 7 called the Melchizedek order. So when it sits here and says, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature, for by him were all things created, there is an eternal priesthood that came before the Mosaic law. The eternal priesthood was the Melchizedek order. It came 600 years before the Levitical priesthood. So therefore, what this is actually saying is that Christ was going to redeem them through the Melchizedek order. All right?
But that doesn't say that, brother. It says that the whole subject right now is about the Son, and it's stating that he is the express image, the invisible image of the Spirit. So, and it goes on to tell you that he created the world. He created everything. There's no arguing that.
1 minute.
Hold on.
Word, 1 minute. That world is the word age. All right. It's the ages. It's the eon. All right. It's not talking about the physical cosmological universe. It's talking about Christ dying for those under that old covenant age. That's why it sits here and says in verse 13, 2 verses before 15, that he translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son through the shedding of his blood and the remission of sins, because sin is transgression against
so you literally have...
It's the new covenant.
It's the new covenant, man.
Hello?
It's the new covenant.
He's only got one bar,
world,
Josh.
that world that Christ is creating, that world that he is the creator of, is the new covenant. He's the firstborn of this new world, this new covenant, this new age.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get you to see this is the new covenant.
I'm going through a bad spot right now. I can't hear any of you guys, like barely. It's breaking in and out. Can I please talk to you guys later, though, if you guys don't mind? I'm going in and out through forests and everything.
Yeah, that's fine, man. No worries.
All right, I'll be back later. We'll have a discussion.
All right. It may not be today. I might be off of here by then, but we'll have a conversation some other time. All right.
Dude, I just followed you back, so we'll message each other. We'll get something going.
We can have a conversation. Have a good day, Mike.
Have a good day.
They just can't see it.
Chris, we like what we have to do, man, is especially with people, we have to give them at least 5 seconds to respond before we respond, or whatever, man, because he clearly wants to see something. All right, he's here, like you could hear what he said at the end of this. He was like, I do want to come back because I want to understand what you're saying. He wants to understand what's being said, but we have to give him a little bit of time because he's 25 years old. First off, at 25, I thought I knew everything. All right, that's why I wasn't even on this damn app at the point, because I didn't want to. I knew I could destroy people's faith really quickly with that stuff. I mean, you even told me something before. You said, my God, Josh, even through when you were teaching futurism, you almost persuaded me to become a futurist. In other words.
Wow.
Had I not already been through all of this, if I wasn't one, you could have convinced me to become one. Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah, so this kid just wants to learn, man. I really do. I think he might have come off a little bit hostile because he's trying to fight sword with swords and stuff. But at the end of the day, I think he's just having a couple of misunderstandings. All right.
Yeah, I mean, he probably has more knowledge than I had at 25. You know what I mean? He's just misunderstood it and doesn't understand the way it actually is supposed to be taught and what we're talking about, covenants and all that. Like, people
I
don't
don't
know about all that stuff. You know what I mean?
I just grew up too fast. I wasn't that naive at 25. I really wasn't. I had already been
I
married
know
twice
you were
by 25.
smart by the time you were
Yeah.
like 10, dude.
But I mean, I'm just saying, I'd already been married twice by 25, already gone through seminary, was already teaching and preaching and doing my thing by 25. So
Yeah, I wasn't even into the Bible really at 25.
Yeah, it's just it's tough, but when you don't understand, like what Paul's saying there clearly, he's talking about Christ being the firstborn of that creation, that new creation. It literally says he's the firstborn among he's the first fruits among the dead. So what it's basically sitting there saying is he's the first one that resurrected out of the covenant of death, just the covenant of the law of Moses. I don't want to say just the covenant of the law of Moses because that's a big deal. So when people sit here and they come up here like, oh, are you a follower of Jesus? I sit there and tell people that, no, I'm not a follower of Jesus, not the way you think as it is, but I believe in every single damn word that the guy said because it aligns with the intuitional and spiritual nature that dwells within me.
right, what they're not getting right is they think that you have to have Christ as your agency. Christ is giving you back your own agency. So do I follow Christ? Do I believe in love, charity, kindness, caring for others, taking into the consideration that everyone in this world is in this together? Yeah, I absolutely do that. Do I get down on my knees and pray to a man called Jesus? No, I do not do that. Do I pray in the same sense as normal Christians pray? No, I don't do that. But that's just because I've gone beyond that point. I'm at a point where my relationship with God doesn't require me feeling like I have to be subservient.
Right. Well, so Love My Grandkids said, I was living and loving at 25. Wish the Jehovah Witnesses didn't find me at 29. I believe your name's Susan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's Susan.
Susan, you said something about Jehovah Witnesses. You know David Vos was a Jehovah Witness, right? David Vos was actually a Jehovah Witness. And he was excommunicated from his family because of a couple of things that he said. And he was excommunicated from the church. And
That's terrible what those people have to go through. I mean, and it is real trauma, dude. Like when you lose your whole entire family because your belief, that's crazy.
yeah, it's nuts.
But would you guys argue that you don't have to pray for God already knows the wants and needs of your heart?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. All right. So someone said something about still kind of confusing though, because you say 66 AD and Jacob says 70 AD. Well, the
My
reason
God.
Yeah, the reason why I say 66 AD is because Christ was going to return before the destruction of Satan. Revelation 19 comes before Revelation chapter 20 with the destruction of Satan, but first he's going to have to be unloosened. And Christ is coming through the Roman armies. That's the ultimate thing here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not difficult. We just round up because everything is absolutely finished and completed by the year 70 AD. I mean, it's
Exactly.
not complicated. The temple falls on the 9th of Av, 66 AD. He said his return would come at the fall of the temple. That would be the sign of his coming. So 66 AD would be the sign of Christ's coming. We just round up to 70 because that's when everything is completed, and even the foundation stones of the temple have been removed.
Right.
And to throw this in there, it was literally a 3.5 year tribulation, 42 months.
Literally, yeah.
And you can look that up in history. It was literally 42 months they trampled the temple underfoot.
Yep. There's semantics here and there between Jacob and I and stuff, but we overall believe on the same stuff, honestly. And Jacob's an intelligible man. He really is.
Right, you might get preterists to argue against each other on certain things. Christ's crucifixion, his resurrection. You might have us debate Trinitarian ideas or philosophical views. The one thing you will not find preterists argue about is whether or not this is finished, whether or not Christ returned, and whether or not it was for the first century church and not for us. These are the things you will not hear us argue about because that's just where we sit, that every one of us agree this is finished. It was all done in their time. It was all dealing with the first century church.
Yep.
He said it on the cross. He said, it is finished.
Yep. That started the time marker for Jerusalem's judgment right there.
Yep. Well, I was thinking that he took care of the spiritual on the cross, and then the physical had to come later on. Would you agree?
Well, his flesh dies on the cross. Notice how his flesh dies on the cross in the symbolic understanding of the story, because cursed is a man that dies upon a tree. And the old covenant was a covenant of flesh. Basically, the temple being destroyed later on is just the repercussions of having something happen. We see something like this in Daniel chapter 10 or 11, when Michael goes back, but he tells Daniel that, hey, I'm away back, I'm going to have to fight the Prince of Persia. But wait a minute, Daniel's living in the days of Babylon. So the language is that it's going to lead up to Persia. So it's showing you basically in that story that the fleshly understand or the spiritual understanding always comes first before the fleshly outcome. In other
Right.
words.
Well, Christ makes two poignant statements on the cross, right? The first is he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's the people of Israel. They don't know what they're doing in crucifying their Messiah. Then he says, it is finished, right? This is a declaration of their judgment being complete. He has just told them that their destruction is now imminent. That is what this is finished is actually about. He's saying the judgment's complete. It's finished. You had your opportunity. You failed. And destruction is coming.
Right. Like you sealed your fate. That when he passed away, right at that moment, you sealed your fate, dude. It is finished. It's done. So now,
Right.
whoever didn't come into the fold, whoever didn't come in under the new covenant, hey, you sealed your fate.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right. Yeah. They're given 40 years after his ascension, right, to come out from underneath that and be a part of this new covenant. The majority of Israel fails to do so and is destroyed, which is also what's predicted, right? All of Israel will be saved through a remnant. It's always a remnant. The majority of Israel is usually disposed of, and that's throughout the entire history of Israel. It's always a remnant that survives, never the entirety of the people.
Yep. So we have a gentleman here, Ezekiel says that, so there's no more sun and moon and no more sea. That's not talking about literal sun, moon, and stars. In order to understand the language of the book of Revelation, you have to understand, and first off, the language of the prophets. But secondly, at the beginning of the book of Revelation, it tells you these things were given by signs. If the sun, moon, and stars cease to exist, we would cease to exist as a planet. All right? This is not talking about that. This is language that was used for Babylon, for the judgment of Egypt, for the judgment of Jerusalem, different places, okay? This is not talking about language that is being used to denote a literal destruction of the sun, moon, and stars. Matter of fact, Ecclesiastes 1:4 says that the earth shall abide forever and ever, continue on from generation to generation. All right? So, yeah, I don't even think we get a full 3 minutes if the sun goes away, right, Alyssa?
Yeah, everything would become ice and just shatter pretty much, right?
Yep. Yep, exactly. So the sun, moon, and stars, there's the governmental system of Israel.
And this is how we know that Genesis isn't actually talking about the creation of humanity, because the sun comes after the plants and trees. You can't have plants and trees if you ain't got no sun. Everything would have just been isolized or crystallized, whatever.
Yep. And that's what's crazy. Yeah, exactly, Alyssa. That's the priestly text. That's the P text in Genesis chapter 1, which they had no concern whatsoever talking about the physical cosmological universe. That is a priestly text that is dealing specifically with the Temple Institute. Genesis chapter 1 is about the Temple Institute. This is why I got away from the whole narrative of holy science being in this Bible as well. There's no holy science in this Bible in the sense of basically it being created out of nothing, the Big Bang Theory being in the Old Testament and all this. That's not what this Bible's talking about. It's cultural
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. The closest the Old Testament gets to metaphysics is transubstantiation and the idea that the prophets can call down fire. That's about as close as they possibly get to metaphysical understanding in the Old Testament. Everything is theologically covenantal and sort of what we would call tribal based. Everything in the New Testament shifts. It becomes philosophically based. They now use and incorporate Hellenistic philosophy. They incorporate Stoic philosophy, Aquarian philosophy, existential philosophy, all of it transforming the complete narrative from the Old Testament. The Old Testament narrative, Israel is the good guy. Their God is the good guy. The New Testament, Israel is the bad guy. Their God is the bad guy. They're the warring nation stirring up all the trouble. They're the problem, not the problem solver in the New Testament.
Yep. So when we look at this word, Susan, you asked a question, a good question, about Genesis chapter 1:26, about God creating man in his own image. We have to look at what God is in the Bible. It's Elohim. But Elohim is actually used to denote judges, or that who is in control. Well, who were the fallen host of heaven that Stephen speaks about? It's Levitical priesthood. So what's being spoken about here when it says God created man in his image, this is the Levitical priesthood taking the cosmological signs of patterns and creating it with their Temple Institute. Okay? So what they're doing is they're trying to design it after the heavens and the earth, like a microcosm of the world, in other words. That's why they have the veil with the Holy of Holies, the holy place, the heavens, the earth, all this stuff. So the Elohim in this regard, these judges, this is the Levitical priesthood. This is the high priest. These are those messengers, those angels, in other words, those gods. So, yeah.
Right, and they get one thing right. The God of the Old Testament is a person. The God of the New Testament is an idea. The God of the New Testament is a perception. The God of the New Testament is something that exists within all living things. The God of the Old Testament, he only exists within the temple. He only exists within the minds of the priesthood. He only exists within the minds of the people. The God that they're presenting in the New Testament exists with or without the people. It doesn't require them or their worship.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing when you think about it, because, and this is where I think this is kind of interesting. Chris, as a metaphysicist, do you believe rocks have consciousness?
I believe they exude a certain amount of conscious energy. Yes. Are they aware? No.
Okay.
Yeah, they
So
don't have a brain, right? They don't have a brain.
They have no
right.
way of processing consciousness, so perception is not a reality. So, without perception, they are not what we would call cognitive or truly aware. What we can find is that they have a certain amount of energy that can be associated with consciousness. It's just a lack of awareness. We move up the scale, right? We move to grass, plants, more awareness, right? A more complex structure. We move up the scale again, insects, right? More aware than plants and a more complex structure to the brain. And then we move up the line, dogs, cats, horses, people, all of us just a better receiver for that awareness.
Yeah.
What's the next step, Chris? Where do we go after humans? Do we evolve into something else after?
Do we evolve into something else? What is evolution but
Technology?
integration?
Yeah,
Yeah,
do you
what is
think?
evolution but integration ultimately?
Right. Because, like, you
So
could see the progression of starting out from, like, rocks, trees, grass, and then, like you said, like little ants, little bugs, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger, bigger till us. So, like, I'm wondering if there's something with technology, maybe that we become even more evolved after this.
yeah. Well,
Well, we've got one little thing that we've set in motion, right? We call it artificial intelligence. When a man has reached the capability of creating intelligence, we've already stepped onto the plateau of the same boundaries as the creator that we would consider created us, or at least the same source level of intelligence to a degree. So, yeah, what's the next step in human evolution? Is it integration? Is it artificial intelligence? Is it a combination? Who knows?
yeah. So the reason why I brought that up is because Jesus said to the Pharisees that if you don't admit that I'm the Messiah, even the rocks will cry out. So Jesus was on to something there, as it is. He knew, even when he's saying that, if you think about it, he's basically saying even the lowest life form has God dwelling within it, a consciousness, in other words, maybe even aware, but still, he's basically using something, I don't want to say as dumb as a rock
Yeah.
to try to emphasize his point. But you
See,
see what I'm
we
saying there?
yeah, but when we move into that realm, right? I don't know if you've ever heard of plant music, but it's a device that allows you to hear the sound waves, the frequency waves of plants produced as musical tones. Uh, if that is any indication, I would say that when it says that the very creation cries out in the glory of God, that's very likely if you've ever experienced what plant music is like.
Wow. Just goes to show, man. Someone on here also, they brought something up about Revelation 21, verse 23. First off, how you doing, Roger? Hope all's well, brother.
Oh, everything's going wonderful today. Just happy with yourself.
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Just
Hi,
trying to
Roger.
recover from this whole
Hey,
freaking
Mr. Babs, how you doing? What's up, Chris?
I'm doing good.
yeah.
What's up, Roger? Yeah, Alyssa. Yeah, technically, yeah, it all is waves. It's right. It's not all frequency, but it is all waves. Frequency and waves don't necessarily go hand in hand, but even an atom is actually a wave and not a spherical solid object. It's actually a particle wave, and we don't even actually split an atom. What we do is we break the circuit. And we found that the very same atom we dropped on Hiroshima popped back into existence right there in the spot where we dropped it.
So
Gosh.
one thing I wanted to say. 1 minute, Raj. I'm going to let you talk here in a minute. Someone in the
good.
comments talking about Ezekiel. Ezekiel's talking about Revelation 21:23, saying that there was no more need for the sun, moon, or stars, for the light of God would be the Lamb. Now I want you to think about something. In Genesis chapter 1, it said that which was going to light that place, it was going to be the sun, moon, and stars. Okay. But in the New Testament, in the New Jerusalem, it's not the sun, moon, and stars anymore. It's the Lamb of God, which is letting you know that if the sun, moon, and stars are disappearing, what are the sun, moon, and stars? It's not literal cosmological sun, moon, and stars. It's talking about the governmental systems in the priesthood of the Levites. All right. They're going to disappear. And Christ is going to be the light, because Christ, or that light of the Lamb of God, is going to light upon all man. And you're going to have your own individual relationship with God. You're not going to have to go through a priesthood anymore. All right. That's what that's talking about, Ezekiel. Just to let you know. All right, Roger. If you want to say what you want to say, brother.
I'll tag you in it if you're interested in seeing it. I'm about to post a new video, and it's going to be really good. I'm going after secession with the Orthodox Church. I'm fixing to decimate it.
Yeah, tag me in that. Absolutely, man.
I'm going to take my size 10 shoe and put it on the throat and just start pushing down.
Well, when it comes to apostolic succession, I'm with you there, Roger. That's got to be put to bed, because there is no apostolic succession, right? I mean, personally, I would say the Gnostics or Marcion had more of a claim to that than the Orthodoxy.
Well, let's just say anybody that's tied to this secession, when they watch this video, they're gonna have such a hatred for me. It's gonna be so hard, so bad.
I would probably say so, because there's really no evidence for secession. There's none.
Yeah.
When I show how this rooted from the very beginning and what it's tied to, oh, they're gonna hate that so much.
Hey, man, you gotta get the truth out there, brother.
Joshua asked if you could send that to him too, Roger.
Yeah. Make sure to tag me, man. Ezekiel said the priesthood was already over with in Hebrews 7, 5-18. No, it wasn't. Hebrews chapter 7 doesn't tell you the priesthood was over. It was told you it was vanishing away. Because in the next chapter, the writer says in Hebrews 8:13 that the law was getting ready to vanish away, getting ready to be taken out of the way. So it didn't disappear. It was still in the process of disappearing. And that was when the temple was destroyed. It did disappear. And the Levites lost the power and the control of their authority in their sun, moon, and stars. Their stars, which were their angels, their governmental leaders within the Levitical priesthood, fell. Then the sun and moon, which is a representation of that light and darkness, that duality that existed within their religion, was going to completely disappear. This is why the tree of the knowledge of good and evil isn't there in the New Jerusalem anymore, because it's a representation of duality. That is what would disappear completely. All of that. It's just different symbols to explain different truths in the Bible at different realities of basically the text.
Yeah. Roger, I would say this, right? If there was one group out of all of those ancient Christians I thought might have a little bit of a pull on apostolic succession, it would have been the Ebionites. It would have been maybe the Ebionites.
I would agree, and they are spoken about within this context, but I'm not validating them because I don't want to validate no one in any kind of way, because you know how what that would do. But I would agree, if there's any kind, it would have existed with those.
Right. That's what I'm not even saying it's there either, Roger. I'm just saying if there was one that might have the claim, it would be that particular group.
Yeah. Be blessed, Ezekiel. Have yourself a good day, my friend. You said you were going back to work, so have a good one. All right. Undoctrinated has a question. What's your question?
Just one quick question, kind of tying into what you guys are talking about. Is in old art, Moses is depicted with horns. Is this because is it indicative of the old covenant being the adversary?
I mean, that's kind of interesting that you say that. Maybe.
Well, great, Josh.
Yeah, maybe to show that history is not what people think. In other words, basically, it's used to depict that there was a view at one point in time that the old covenant law was the law of sin and death, and Moses was the devil. In other words, the diablos. So,
Yep, that's all I got. That's the question I wanted answered.
This glow that Moses comes down with, Shekinah glory, it represents the presence of God. It's when he comes down, he has this glow, and this glow, it can translate into the word horn. This is where this comes from. But so this is why he's going to be depicted as this horned creature later on, through
Yeah, bad
folklore.
translation in the Latin Vulgate led to that. Yeah.
But it's like a headpiece that he would wear.
Yeah, it talks about rays of light. This translates to horn in Latin, so they gave him horns. But the thing is though he is spoken of as the deceiver, so it sort of fits the model in all reality. He is the deceiver of the people of Israel. By giving them this law, he deceives them into thinking that this law is their access to God.
Yes. Yeah.
that word there that's used is the word karen. And for that light, that shining, that word shine means karen, which meant horn. So, what I would say is that, yeah, symbolically, it could be used to denote that there was a belief at one time that the old covenant was the law of sin and death. But somehow we got off track again, and we got all these evangelists out here talking about how Jesus loved Moses and was all about that law. It's crazy. It really is.
That's the orthodoxy's fault. It starts at the earliest parts of the church, Josh, when they rammed the Old Testament into the New Testament without understanding that it's a philosophical argument against the Old Testament. Surely the God didn't change, right? God is unchanging. But at the same time, we don't actually see that in the text. We see a God who's constantly changing. Changes his mind, changes his opinion, changes direction, regrets things. It's
right. Yeah. Yeah. It's very clear. I mean, my God. But yeah, indoctrinated. I hope that helps, man. When you get a chance, my guys, that this goes for everyone, and I need to probably next week I'll do this because my book will officially be good to go for publishing and everything. Make sure to check that out, you guys. Seriously. All right. This has been a culmination of 10 years of research, 40,000 hours, but 4.5 to 5 years I've been writing this book. And it's going to explain everything, and no one's going to have any doubts in their mind with what's going on, using all the scriptures, using all the scholarly references, everything that's going on here, in other words. So definitely looking forward to it. It sucks that my channel was banned when it was. Hopefully I can get that back, and we can resurrect the beast system. In other words,
holistic. Yeah. I just want to address something I was seeing in the comments, Josh. You can go ahead. I'll do it in a minute.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we guys, if anyone knows, to the Christians, we are the beast system. There was a deadly head wound that was suffered, but we're going to resurrect back up. All right, that's what's going on here. Okay.
So, right. As to what they were talking about down here in the comments that I was going to address. Yeah, the transcendental memory is a thing, right? That kind of is perplexing. Someone gets a heart transplant, and then suddenly they have certain emotional, psychological responses that seem to coincide with that of someone, namely the giver of the heart. And this is a real thing. It's documented. It's something that does occur and happens, and it's not just with right hearts. It's happened with other organ transplants. The explanation no one has. I go with the fact that I believe in universal consciousness. I believe in the universal memory. In that sense, right? The universal reality that we're all interconnected. And Perhaps that leads to something such as shared life experience through transplantation of organs. I have no clue. I'm going to be honest with you. It baffles the hell out of me.
I think it's really interesting though, Chris, because I did read a couple of stories that this lady, she got a heart transplant. It's a little bit different than what Holistic was saying, but she started liking Pabst beer. She like never couldn't stand beer. She started craving Pabst beer and peanuts. And come to find out, that is exactly what the gentleman's who she got the heart from used to love to eat and drink was Pabst beer and peanuts.
When I was at my, hey guys, I was going to say this is like psychometry. Hi. I'm up on my lunch, so I won't be able to stay long. But when I went to my spiritualist church, we did practices called psychometry, where we would hold an object. Everybody would take an object of theirs, like a ring or a bracelet or, something they had on, put it in the dish. We'd pass it around, take the object, hold it. And then we'd be able to, share whatever visions or feelings or whatever came up from that object. And it's just a way of reading energy. And you can see, it was so fascinating to see that a lot of people were right. Like, I'm sensing, for me particularly, I was sensing, a really tall woman, gray hair. And sure enough, I called out the congregation member of who it was. So it's a very interesting practice that I've done firsthand. We called it psychometry, but I could see that very well being the same with organs and such like that. So it's interesting, but I wanted to give a word to it, that what we did in our spiritualist church, it was called psychometry.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Would you say that maybe the energy and the energy, right? The literal electric current holds information and it stores it in the organs, right? It would have to be.
I just want to say, Coach Peter, my response is based solely on the fact that I'm not taking blame for any of that.
Taking blame for any of what? What are you talking about?
Any of the stuff in the book of Revelation.
Yeah. Yeah, because Coach said, I think we're big enough now to be the sea beast of Revelation at this point. I also wanted to point something out real quick. Someone's asking, Chill Will, you're saying, in Jude 1:9, did Satan fight the body of Moses /law so that it can be worshipped? You got it. So what it says is Michael did not bring a railing exact accusation against the devil who held the control over the body of Moses, but he said, the Lord rebuke you. It's because Michael there is a representation of Christ fighting the devil, which is a system of those of Moses, with the body of Moses being the covenantal law. All right. So that Michael there is Christ. In other words, that's the same story we get there in Revelation 12 with the dragon fighting Michael, and Michael casting 1/3 of the angels down. That's the Levitical priesthood. Mosaic law is the fallen host of heaven. It's not literal angels. Okay.
I saw
that's representing people.
Like lightning. That's another one. When it says I saw Satan fall like lightning to the earth, that's referring to the law being kicked out of heaven.
Yep.
Josh, I did want to bring to your attention, I don't know if you've seen it in the comments, but Coach asked you first, Coach asked you, who are the 7 heads and 10 horns, Josh? And then Mrs. K says, what is the name of your book?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so first off, Coach, I don't think we have to go through the 7 heads and 10 horns, all right? We've gone through this enough as it is. So I think Coach was saying that as a joke, basically saying that the 7 heads in actual reality is probably like myself, like Roger and Theologos and we got.
Well, no. If you're really asking the question, my answer would be it's the Herods and the 10 provinces of the Roman Empire. You probably would place it among the zealots somehow. I'm not sure.
He said no, he meant it.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Chris. Chris is actually the little horn on the sea beast, right?
Yeah. No. What are you talking about? I'm literally Lucifer himself. I've heard it like I don't know how many times.
It's the incarnation of the devil, guys. That's what Chris is. No, but so Coach, what? Oh, he said, yeah. That's what Coach said. He said, no, I meant it, but as us though. Who do you think that the seven heads are of this? Well, I
Oh,
mean,
gotcha.
yeah. He's not talking about the literal actual fulfillment of it. He's actually talking about Crispian Diablos himself.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I don't know how many times, right? Burn It Down. He literally tells me I'm Satan himself. I'm Lucifer incarnate. In the Mix tells me I'm Lucifer. I don't know how many other people have come up in panels and called me Lucifer by the time they left. They're like, you're literally Satan.
Yeah, but Chris, I'd like to remind you that those two gentlemen that you just listed have some far other problems to worry about other than that.
Yeah, those guys. I mean, in the Mix can't even stick with the Bible with me, so he starts bringing up my family members about how.
Oh man, I can't deal with him in the Mix. I mean, he's nice, but
No, he's
No,
bad. He literally said, the guy literally said that, hey, guess what? I'm happy that your mom died. And
oh my God,
he's an idiot at the first and ultimate degree. He is like the dumbest person on here when it comes to the Bible. He's dumber than his counterpart. Burn It Down, and that's hard. That's hard to beat.
I do not see how you have. Damn, I don't see how you have the character to keep interchanging with these people of that magnitude. I'm not even going to say what I would do to a motherfucker in my presence like that.
Yeah, I'm a forgiving guy.
I'm the same, Josh. But I can't believe he said that. I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm a forgiving person, Josh, but there comes a point, right? And with people like In the Mix and Burn It Down, man, there comes this total point where it's just like, I give up. I ain't even gonna try no more. You can run off with your fantasy world all you want and just be lost in that forever. I no longer care.
Oh, I'm waiting for him to find my new channel In the Mix as it is. I'm waiting for the day that he'll come back here, and he might do it. If he's really sincere, he might come back. He might apologize, but it might be like, man, you guys were right the entire time. And it's not so much an ego thing to sit there and say, I want people to come back and say you're right. But most of the time, when in a situation like that, people aren't going to say you're right. They won't say that. They won't admit that. They'll change their mind, and they'll slowly change their mind on something, but they'll never come back and say that they're thankful for you being in their life so that they can progress on this understanding.
They don't humble themselves to say, hey, thanks for, at the time I didn't get it, but I get it now. And thanks for showing me that,
Yeah.
Look, I don't even want to do it, but I do it, right? If I hadn't run across somebody like Derek, if I hadn't have been following Derek already, watching what Derek was doing from the time he was preaching that the Bible was the mark of the beast, I probably would have never stumbled into any of this in the first place. So I even have to give him credit where credit is due, even though I don't want to.
Same here, Chris.
I mean, I understood some of this, and I was arguing against some of it to begin with, but it was really the fight against Derek that brought me into a lot of this. So,
and rightfully so. I still don't understand how you're going to say that everything was finished, there is no more law, but then say, oh, well, if you tell a lie, you're going to be eradicated.
Oh, no. Not Derek Bros. We're talking about Derek Jester.
Yes.
All right, let's not get this twisted, all right? Yeah.
Jester has his Jester I don't know, man. He could have been Jester could have been such a great part of the true preterist movement. Instead, he chose to go off and do whatever he did because he's an egomaniac. But
he wanted his own church and all that,
Yeah, he's a Sith Lord, guys. Jester would be like the Darth Maul of Star Wars. Okay, he might be Emperor.
He's our Mormonism. He's literally Preterism's Mormonism. He is our Jehovah's Witnesses. He is literally that problem. It's crazy.
Yeah, he might be Emperor Palpatine, honestly. I take that back.
All I'm saying is I'm glad that he said the things that he said as quickly as he did when I was listening to him. I was like, "How see you, brother? Happy day."
No, but my thing is right. That's really the crazy part of it. Little did I know that going into this, that this too was going to end up having the offshoot cult come into play. I had no idea we were going to have our own form of Mormonism out there. But
Yeah, you would think with preterism that wouldn't be capable, but they made a way.
yeah, well, he literally stole from Mormonism to make it happen.
One thing I've learned is anything's possible if you put forth the ambition.
Yeah, to find out that he's got an actual physical church in Africa, that's insanity.
Oh yeah, Josh, book name. A couple people are asking about the name of your book. I keep forgetting it.
1 minute. The Order of Melchizedek unveiling the priesthood. Let me show the picture. This is just the first copy, but I'm taking it through like a professional publisher right now. And man, I looked at the final edition of it with a couple of the chapters done. I was like, my God, this actually looks really good and everything. So, but this is it. It's going to have a red thread on it. Order of Melchizedek. This is going to be doctored up a little bit. My picture is going to be on the back, so you'll know who frickin' wrote it. And we're gonna go from there. I'm really excited.
I want to thank you, Josh. Sincerely, I want to thank you for giving the shout outs in the book that you did.
Of course, man. Of course, yeah. Wouldn't be made possible without you guys, as it is. I mean, you guys taught me stuff along the way. I mean, we all know Chris has taught me the most along the way, but I mean,
hey, I tell people all the time, I'm just a guy on TikTok talking about the Bible. That's all I do. I'm a philosopher who talks about the Bible on TikTok, and I'm really nothing more. Yeah, I know a lot of stuff. To me, it's not that big a deal, and I really just trying to get people to see like a clearer picture of how all of this works. Like not just the Bible, but our relationship to God, to this idea, this thing we call God.
Yeah. I find myself talking people down sometimes. You know, a lot of this stuff people just have no inquiry about whatsoever. So when I go laying it out in certain avenues, they begin to think I don't know, I'm superior in knowledge and stuff, and they start to put me on this pedestal. I'm like, no, we ain't doing that. You know, we can learn from everybody up here. Everybody has some type of intellect that they can share, and we can learn from. We're not
have experiences. We all have things we've went through. So when we all come together, it's like, holy shit, I didn't think about things that way. But since you went through things the way you did in your life and you thought about it that way, that will just add to my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. No, see, I use my degree as a academic weapon, right? I never use it as a way of actually presenting myself. I could care less about my degree. It literally, ultimately, in the end, means jack. Because I met the wisest man I ever knew in prison, and he had an 8th grade education. And wisdom can come in all kinds of forms.
Yeah. But you can't tell somebody but so many times, Josh. Like I'll go in and they'll introduce me and they say, "This is a Bible scholar. He's a Bible scholar." And I've done asked them 10,000 times not to say that about me, but they will not quit.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, you know your stuff, and we know at the end of the day. You know, I had someone come to me the other day. One of my buddies, he sat there and said, "Hey, man, me and my fiance, we're getting married in September." He was like, "The first one that came to mind, Josh, to marry us is you." I'm like, dude, I'm not an ordained minister, but I could be the Yahweh is Satan or ordination guy if you want me to. So I'm actually thinking about going out there in September and doing that as it is. So um, he said he would compensate me for like missed work and everything. So that's cool and everything. And yeah, might be a nice little change of things. In other words, I might do that, even though I don't have a license. I think I could still do that. I think I could get away with that. I don't know.
Oh, I have this one girlfriend, and she is like not into the Bible, doesn't know anything, just wanted to marry her friends, and went and got her, what do you call it? You get like a certificate, or they ordain you to be able to perform weddings. And I think you would do good, man. I think, because you are spiritual, like you're a little more esoteric than like Chris. You know what I mean? And I think like you could have a word to say to couples, you know what I mean, about explaining the whole marriage thing and biblical and stuff like that.
I still marry people all the time.
Off topic for a moment, talking about your book, Josh, if you don't mind, and not in great detail or anything like that, nothing like that. Just in general, what is it? A financial burden to put this in physical form? I'm contemplating it, but I live on a fixed income, but I am contemplating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not. So the company I'm with, and I'll give you some feedback on it once I'm good to go. But the books, they have like an author's deal and everything. It's not going to be really much of a financial burden, but I just don't like the idea of like Kindle documents, and I just don't like that. Maybe that's a little bit of my ego talking or whatever, but I want people to have an actual physical copy in their hand. Mm-hmm. And I want to be able to actually look at that and be like, I did that. I wrote that right there, in other words. And
that's why I'm contemplating, because the one that I'm will be writing is going to be huge. So
yeah, exactly. So and I plan to have it up on my shelf right there with my Bible, right there with my Josephus book and everything, dude. I'm serious, man. I'm getting goosebumps saying this. Like you guys and everything.
Hey, you get to add author to your resume.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? If there's ever a Y2K kind of thing that happens, people still got your book. Even if the internet went down and you lose internet or whatever, you still have that information that's going to get passed from generation to generation, Josh.
You got it. And Roger's going to have the same thing. Chris is going to have the same thing. This is why I say to Chris, like, dude, you got to write your damn book, dude. You got to get.
I'm working on it, man. But this 4-year-old monster here doesn't like to give me much time.
If you would be so kind, Josh, if you think the company that you're working with now is someone that would help me or that I could benefit through, if you could give me their information to get in contact with them, I'd appreciate it.
Of course. Let me get through the next week and a half with them, and I'll get back to you, man. All right.
Yeah. Take your time, bro. Ain't no rush. Like I said, I'm still got 7, 8 months before I even begin to even write it. So.
Yeah, you got some studying to do then, man. Put it all together and stuff. So.
Well, you could hire somebody that will do that, right? A publicist.
Have you listened to 1 minute, Babs? Yeah, you can hire a publisher, but they'll fix all the editing, the formatting and stuff. That's what I'm doing right now, because what was going on with my book is that at the end of each chapter you have the references. I want the references embedded on each page that correlate to each footnote. See what I'm saying? That way people don't have to flip through. It actually looks like a real scholarly work. And I think Roger should do the same thing, or Chris should do the same thing with theirs if they're going to add footnotes in there, especially with the scholarly data. And scholars will look at it, man, later on down the road. They'll be like, who the hell are these guys? Just a couple of guys on TikTok. That's all we are. Just a couple of guys on TikTok.
Just as it stands right now, footnotes alone is probably 3 pages.
Wow. Yeah. There we go.
Like I said with mine, the problem is redefinition, right? The real complication that is in writing the book I'm writing, which is on cognitive spirituality, is redefining certain terms like supernatural to terms that fit the realistic nature of things, right? We use supernatural. The term I redefine it to is extra natural, which is a definition defining things within the natural universe, but and not outside of explanation, just unexplained at this point in time, right? This would include God in that, and so you to redefine these things and put them in this new perspective, which is more of a naturalistic meets spiritual way of looking at things, is something that takes careful staging. You got to be able to lay it out from beginning to end before you can even go into the actual like depth of what it all means.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful thing, man. It's going to be a beautiful thing. I'm taking all these books that we're writing, and I think this is going to be like top shelf quality because I know these motherfuckers know what they're talking about. So all these other books, they can go to the wayside. Seriously, I got this Kabbalah set. I mean, it makes a nice little design set in the back here, and I've done the studying on it, but it's like it's just for design and decoration at this point. I mean, I can give a shit less about it. But probably the best book in my collection, I would have to say, is probably the Bible and the Book of Josephus. That's it, pretty much. So,
well, you guys are changing the world with your books and your knowledge. I mean, y'all have changed my world, I know for sure, and so many other people. And then I've passed it on, and people told me, you changed my life, my understanding, like my whole, they're just so happy and feel free. I mean, that's what makes it worth it all. And I appreciate every one of you guys, like, honest to goodness. Thanks for all you guys do.
Yeah, of course, Babs. Thank you for being here. It's chain breaking, like Missy said, chain breakers. Everything that's what we're doing here. So, but yeah, Roger, I'll make sure to give you a couple updates, man, on everything that's going on. So far, I was blown away. Like, I looked at the manuscript and I was like, holy shit, man, these guys are really professional. I mean, it's a couple of dollars, but yeah, we'll figure something out, man. All right.
I am seriously contemplating doing that because of the magnitude of what the material is going to be on, and a lot of people do also like physical copy. You know, some people don't mind the Kindle form, right? And that's cool. I put it in Kindle form. I ain't no issues with it, but some people like that physical form, and it would be cool for something to remain once I'm gone.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Man. And I will be making sure to buy every one of your guys' books. And Josh, are you going to do a sign like for pre-order, like Missy said? Are you going to?
I am.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So probably, honestly, probably at the end of this live, I'm probably going to see who wants to pre-order the book, and going to have to write a list down of people and stuff, because I was thinking about probably buying about 50 to 100 physical copies of the book. And I'll be in Michigan here in the next couple of weeks to hang out with my dad the 14th. I'll probably spend that entire day just mailing those out to people or something.
But put my name on that list there, sir.
We'll do, Babs.
Missy, BB.
Yeah, I'll make sure to let you guys know. I just got to figure a couple more things out at this point. How much it is to print and what's going on there with everything that's happening, because like, I mean, the more you're printing, the more money it is. So I got to check out what the heck's happening with all that.
Yeah, you got to kind of wait till everything's kind of finished and final product kind of thing.
Yeah. Josh, I just want to a person who asked the question in the Bible, which is basically which one is the best Bible, NIV, if you want to go what's closest to the Greek, in the original Koine Greek, I would go with the NIV. If you want one that translates it to its proper styling as far as what is being said, I would go with the NEV.
Yeah.
Would you say the updated version, Chris?
Would I say of the NIV? Yeah.
Yeah, there's an updated version, right? There's NIV updated version or something.
The updated version is them making a closer attempt to come as close as possible to the Koine Greek.
This is not a Bible, but it's something that's very, very viable tool that I would recommend anybody who really wants to try to understand these people and their culture. I would recommend a book called the NIV Cultural Study Guide.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. The NIV Cultural Study. They had a study Bible, NIV Cultural Study Bible. I used to work at a Christian bookstore, so I used to deal with all that. I remember that. I'm pretty sure. It's like a cream colored. Is it like a cream colored Bible? Maybe.
I remember it from when I was working with the Bible Institute.
Yeah. So Susan, you said you live in Rochester Hills. Yeah, I grew up in Belleville, Michigan. I'm not going to give it any address because we know what happened on my last account, but you know.
Yeah, I would, dude. So how did you get banned? You must have went off on it because I missed the whole damn thing. You must have went off at him for threatening you. I'm guessing.
I basically said you might as well bring a. All right, and you better stand at least 50 feet back because when I get my hands on you, I'm gonna fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah, he went off on him, rightfully so. Though I mean, come on, you don't say things like that. You don't do that, man. That's just messed up.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So somebody threatened your life on this, and I don't see how TikTok can be okay with that because that is a serious threat that should be taken seriously. Is there any way they can get that account? I mean, because what if something did happen, Josh? I'm just saying.
I know.
I mean, there's wacky people out there. It happens all the time. We see stories about TikTok murderers and stuff like this.
Yeah,
you know?
and in their terms and agreement, you sign off. They are not responsible for anything that happens to you due to interactions on this site.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he should be banned for making that kind of threat, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to appeal it right now. Hopefully, I get something back there soon.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not just going to stay there and stay stagnant with it. Like I said, the beast system is going to be resurrected, all right? It might have suffered a deadly headwind, but it's coming back, all right? So, but yeah, it's unfortunate situation, but sorry.
Yeah, you had like 400,000 followers, right?
Huh?
You had like over 400,000 followers, right?
No, not 400,000. 150.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you had 400 there. Is that on YouTube, maybe, I'm thinking? Do you have a lot on YouTube?
No, I don't have nearly that much on YouTube. I think like 7,500 on YouTube or something.
Really? Where am I getting 400?
At his height, Josh had almost 200,000. At his height, he had almost 200,000. He lost some when he started talking about Yahweh as Satan, and especially when he started talking about everything's fulfilled. So,
yeah.
Yeah, my follower list just dropped. I think it was dropping down like 3,000 people a day after that video I made on Yahweh being Satan. I was like, oh my God, man. I was like, I really don't like this, but I got to keep on speaking the truth. I
know, it's in the text. Like, it's in the text. I don't understand it.
These people don't read. They just don't. And their cognitive dissonance holds them back at the end of the day. So,
well, again, it's mixing that Old Testament and that New Testament, which it itself warns against. The New Testament literally warns against mixing the old with the new. It doesn't just do it, one time either. It brings it up like 2-3 times. Don't mix the old with the new. It doesn't work. It doesn't fit. And yet here we go mixing the old with the new and saying, look, I shoved that square peg right into that round hole and it fits.
I made it work, bitches.
I made it work. Yeah, you think you made it work. You just made a mess of the fucking structure. That's what you did right there. All right?
We'll teach you to the gaps. Put caulking there.
Yeah, right. There's some talk in there. Yeah, exactly. We'll take care of the situation. That's pretty much what these pastors are doing, anyways. Like, oh yeah, it might be all fucked up, but we're gonna fix it. Don't you worry. That's what John Hagee did. I guarantee there's been people that have come to John Hagee to sit there and say this is a Zionist agenda and all this stuff. And
right. But just look at the apologetics, right, Josh? Look at the apologetics. We got the God of the Old Testament, right? He's saying, man, just go over there, take out your enemies, curse your enemies, to hell with your enemies. We're done with the enemies. We just go mess up the enemies. We got a New Testament where Christ says, love your enemies, right? And then they're asked, how can he say, hey, back here, man, you're supposed to curse your enemies? Here he says, love your enemies. Bless those who curse you, right? Right. And now he's got to try to make an apologetic for that. And his only thing is the only one he's got. Well, God's ways are higher than our ways. We just don't understand. And this is the great apologetic. That is literally the ultimate apologetic. God's ways are higher than our ways. We just don't understand.
Yeah. Don't even question it. Don't question anything at all. Just go with it.
And not realizing it's like they say, well, God wrote the Bible. No, Paul, Peter, Luke, John, they wrote the Bible, not God.
Through their own complex, though. Say they believe that God wrote this Bible. Then if God's ways is higher than their ways and they can't understand it, hell, they can't even understand the damn text in that context.
Yeah, then why are you sitting here arguing?
Yeah.
I just want to know why, if God's ways are higher than our ways, while I'm reading the Old Testament, they sure seem an awful lot like our ways. Slap the hell out of them, go kill all the children. I mean, it seems an awful lot like our ways.
Yeah, like Braden whips, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jesus did that. We know why he did that. I think so. And he didn't even go in there and did it automatically. He sat down for a while.
Premeditated, Josh. That was premeditated.
Yeah, sure was. He premeditated it well. He had a time to cool off too. He sat there and said, "Man, I don't know if I should deal with these fuckers right now or what, but I'll take this, I'm gonna braid it up and everything." He probably sat there and contemplated it for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in and whoop some ass.
Yeah, let's do it.
Unclean animals being sold, cheating people, man. They just robbing them blind. These people don't pay no attention to nothing. They just, I mean, you can just imagine, right? Put it in his context, right? He's like, they're in there just cheating people, robbing people, selling them animals that aren't good for sacrifice, and they're just giving them their money. They're not even paying any attention. You can just imagine the thoughts going through his head. Cause I mean, this is what's outraging him. The fact, it isn't just that they're selling the animals inside the temple, they're selling inferior animals inside the temple.
Yeah. Right. Do you think it was the fact that they were, unaliving innocent animals too? Like making these animals and all this bloodshed for you screwing up kind of thing?
But yeah, there's a lot of things, right? I don't think Christ was too fond of animal sacrifice. I honestly don't believe he was. He doesn't sound as though he is. We know that the prophets are not fond of animal sacrifice. So somewhere in there, there is this, right? This is why in the 1600s, there was an entire cult that rose up that spoke out against animal cruelty and said the Bible itself spoke out against animal cruelty, and it was all about how we shouldn't be cruel to animals.
There was a cult that started up that did that?
Yes, they were vegetarians. They were a vegetarian cult in the 1600s. They were an offshoot of the what is the name of that? The Rosicrucians. So they're an offshoot of the Rosicrucians. They are vegetarians. They believe that the entire point to the Bible is about how we're not supposed to take any kind of life and animal life being natural and precious. We're not to take any type of animal life. And they built their entire religion around that idea that animal life was sacred.
This
Like an early
animal
PETA group.
Like
PETA,
all life was sacred, but animal life was especially sacred. Yeah, kind of like early PETA. Yeah.
oh my God.
Wow. Wow, man. That's crazy. I didn't know there was a little cult in 1600s, I believe that. Then their views probably stemmed around something that the God of the Old Testament was different from the God of the New. They were picking up on something then.
Oh well, yeah. They come from the Rosicrucians, so yeah, they did have that idea. They didn't believe the Old Testament God was the God of the New Testament. I mean, the Rosicrucians were basically on the same wavelength that I sit on there. That the God of the Old Testament was pretty much mythological. The God of the New Testament is philosophically based. That I mean, that was pretty much the Rosicrucian view, man.
Say it 5 times real fast, Chris. You'll get it.
This concept of the sin animal. This will be touched on within the video I'm going to release within through the secession. This comes from ancient transferable ritual power, the laying of hands.
Wow.
So this comes from there. The Israelites takes this concept of the Near Mid East and they apply it to the sinful nature. So when they put the hands onto the animal, they're transferring their sins and transgressions into this animal to represent them. So this is where this comes from. This will also be where the secession will come from. They don't understand that this is tied to ritual magic, and they're going to hate that.
My God, man. So a lot of this stuff that's coming up through here, especially with the apostolic succession, they're taking this from ancient Israelite ritualism then. That these
Yes. But they don't know it. They don't have no clue. They seeing the apostles do it, and they don't know why the apostles are doing it. They don't know where they get it from. The apostles don't even know where they get it from.
So would that have anything to do with like Jesus performing like magical
Yes.
kind of?
Yes, that's why when he touches people and heals them. That's what he's doing. This power transfer.
It's a power transfer.
Like
Well, yeah,
a
I mean,
Reiki,
even with the
a
woman.
Reiki or whatever.
This would have been their understanding of it, right? Even if Christ is doing it from the position that I hold as an illusion, their perception of it would have been what Roger said. It would have been exactly that same idea of transfer. Yeah.
Yeah, because even in the with the woman with the issue of blood, Christ says, "Who touched me?" And his disciples are like, "Lord, the crowds are thronging you right now. They're all around you." He's like, "No, someone touched me."
He says he
Literally,
felt the power. Right. Excuse me. He says he felt the power go out of him.
Yep.
It's just like the handkerchief that Paul sent. That's transferable magic.
Yeah, but doesn't the woman with the bleeding issue he comes to her later on? He said it was your faith that healed you.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. But it's almost like it's like an agreement of the energy sources. So there's like a switch. In other words, like when the woman touched him, it was her faith that made her whole. It was like a placebo effect, if you want to go into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
like
like it was
she
his
believed
faith.
it so strongly that she actually it made it happen.
Yes.
Christ realizing that this is an opportunity, right? Someone touched him, right? They must have been right because everybody for some reason is abstaining from touching him at this moment, and someone does touch him, and when they touch him, right, he says he felt the power go out of him. The reason he's doing this is to prompt the person to speak, to get them to say who they are. Then he can, by contrast, say, "Hey, it was your own faith that healed you, not me. You believed it was possible, and it came about."
Right. So it's within you. It was within her that actually had believed so strongly that she made the change. It really wasn't him, though, right?
You remember, Josh, for the little boy that was dying, and Paul goes in and he stretches out. He puts his mouth to his mouth, hands to his hands, face to his face. This is transferable magic too, but this is called like for like.
Like for like?
Yeah, like for like. It's you're taking this sickness, if you will, or this death, or this disease, and you're bringing it in. You're taking it from that individual, and you want to place it somewhere else. And what they used to do is they would make a doll. Usually it was a wax figure, and they would they would have the person touch that figure, and they would transfer this into this figure, and they would take the figure and either burn it or bury it or something like that, and the sickness or the disease or the death would go away.
Yeah, this is reborn in the I'd say 1400s, and you get the Death Eater, a man who would travel from village to village, and he would take on people's illnesses or their sins. And what he would do is he would lay bread and wine on their chest. He would say some sort of prayer or incantation. Then he would eat the bread and drink the wine, and he would leave the village entirely. And they paid him for this service, and he either took their sickness with him or their sins away with him after death. That was the whole point. This was usually men who were convicted felons and couldn't get real jobs, right? And they found a way to use their quote unquote sinful life in their benefit.
That's where the scapegoat comes from as well. That's when they would place and put the sins of all Israel into the scapegoat, and they would lead him out of the city. He's taking the sins with him.
Yeah, makes sense. Missy brought something up about the Green Mile being a transferring of power. Yeah, that's a great movie. Barbecue.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, but I laughed my ass off at that part, dude.
I know. It's a god awful part, but it's pretty funny, all right? Somebody's getting
But yeah, no, but that's exactly where Stephen King's drawing from is the Death Eater, right? The idea that there was somebody capable of eating other people's death, their sins, these kinds of things, right? So he gave us a great story with it. The Green Mile is actually a great telling of that kind of story. I think it's probably one of his best novels.
Oh yeah, it's oh my God, that's amazing. It really is. I cry every single time I watch that movie.
Every time. I cannot get through that movie without tears. I mean, there are funny parts too where he spits the moon pie in the guy's face.
Yeah.
He said, "You get that one for free."
That's up there with like Shawshank Redemption, like those types of movies.
Yeah,
I was locked up with a dude about that crazy though. I'm not kidding. I was literally locked up with a dude that was about that nuts for about 3 months as a cellie. It was hard to deal with, dude. It was.
Wow, man.
I'd been a little worrisome about closing my eyes, Chris. I ain't gonna lie.
He made me nervous. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, Missy, I wanted to thank you for the logo update. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I expect now I'm using it. In other words, guys, Missy made that logo. She incorporated that with the heart symbol and everything. So.
Yeah, with your old, so it looks familiar to people. Yeah, great idea.
I was honestly just going to put a picture of myself on there, like half dark, half light, or something like darkness, like shadow, pretty much, just to piss people off. Honestly,
I like Chris's icon. The whole damn church on fire. He's gonna burn that shit down.
Yeah, burn it all down.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I had someone sneak in my office. I had my volume down. What? I see. Thanks, Missy. What did I miss?
Oh, I was thanking you for the logo design.
Oh, you're welcome. I was hoping you'd like that. I took the first one we did, and then the one you did, and then I took the red string theory and added that into it, or the red string that you have from your book, and added that into it. So
yeah, that's very. Oh wow, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's
it's the
cool,
first. It's the lightning from the original logo. It's the rainbow from your second logo, and then it's also the red string from your book.
Wow. Oh my God. Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't even recognize that.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, hopefully more people
You're so good.
will get on board and stuff. So
I love that Missy did your cup as it is.
yeah.
You know, that's still available up in my shop to buy. I'm waiting for you to get it back. I was waiting for your
I know, I'm
address
waiting to
so I
not
could
be
send
broke.
it to you.
Well, I should be able to get it come summertime here. I just got past Christmas, payments.
Well, no, I wanted to send it to you once you got your PO box. I was just going to get it and send it to you. That's what I was asking you
Oh,
for
I completely
a few
forgot
weeks
about
ago.
that.
Yeah, once you got your PO, I was just going to go ahead and, because that's still available up at my store, I was going to go ahead and send you that.
Yeah, I could give you that.
Yes, if you please. I would love to do that.
That's so sweet of you. But yeah, I would like to pay for it because I'd like to donate to the cause.
Well, yeah, and I think it's still actually donating to Pause in Prison.
Oh, that's great.
So all the proceeds go over to Pause in Prison.
Yeah, that's a good cause. I like that.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to go ahead and drop down. I'll still be listening in, but my lunch hour is about over. Thank you for having me up, Josh. I've got 7 names here for you. You should follow me back so we can message on this account. But I've got like 7 names. No, you're not following me on this one.
Oh my God, I'm not.
I would have killed for them to have that program when I was in prison. I would have loved to have been able to have a dog when I was in prison.
Wouldn't that have been, you see? So if you want any items that you purchase from the shop, all the proceeds go to Pause in Prison. So, thank you for having me up. I'll get those names to you, Josh, for those people who are interested in the pre-orders.
Yeah,
and I'll keep track. I'll keep track at the end of the live if you want to do a shout out for more of the copies, the signed copies. I'll write them down.
That sounds great, Misty. Thank you.
Don't do too many though, because we want to be special.
Yeah. No, I know. I know. I was probably going to order about 50 books. I'm trying to think. It depends on like what the production of it is and everything, like the whole rating and everything. So I still got to get back on that because this book might be a little bit. I'm thinking it's going to be probably about 450 pages or so. All right, so.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty big book. It's going to be a pretty big book and stuff. So, and then Missy's talking about doing an audio version of it as well. So, might have her do that. So,
someone mentioned chosen people, holistic mentioned chosen people. I've got a whole section, a whole chapter, and probably it's almost a chapter and a half, really, where I go through the fact that God could not have chosen people. This makes literally no logical sense.
He's going to break it all down. Break it all down. So, but I don't think we're going to have anyone that wants to come up here that's a futurist, honestly. I don't think.
Yeah, it sucks that you lost your other account because that was really in the algorithm. You had hundreds.
I sure did. That's all right. Maybe we'll just take a step back and we'll see who we can get over here. I mean, that Michael guy wants to come back and have a conversation, so that would be good.
I got another girl last night. Her name was Kayla. I was surprised. She says, well, I don't know if I'm going to believe what you're saying, but I will allow you to present it to me. So I went over the verses. I brought the verses up on the screen, went over everything. I said, what do you think? She said, I said, do you make sense? She said, yeah, actually. She says, you got the scriptures to prove it. She said, she followed me and she says she's absolutely going to, and I told her, follow me. And she did. I said, when we go live and stuff like this, come in and listen. And, you'll start hearing and catching on. But she was interested. So, I mean, even every day, if you get one person, that one person is going to go and tell their mother, brother, sister, friend. And that's how it works, guys. Even if you just get one person a day.
One damn person could change everything. They could be the next Billy Graham of preterism. They really could.
Yeah, I mean, you figure, what does it say? When one soul is saved, the angels rejoice. Yeah.
In this regard, we are in the business of, I don't want to say we are in the business of saving souls, but I'm not talking about the soul that exists in the body. I'm talking about the mind. All right, we're in the business of saving people's minds. If you actually think about it, their psyche, their psychological understanding.
Yep, that's what Jesus did, right? Because they thought they were under a law that came from God. They thought that they were under all this whole thing, and they were separated from God. But truly, you are only at enmity with God in your minds. And he was trying to show them that.
Yep. That's what he was trying to show them. He was trying to show them their mental, psychological disorder under the law of Moses, pretty much.
He was trying to free their minds from the brainwashing that was going on under this law, right? Everything was about pushing back against the law, right? The Sabbath day, everything, literally everything, Christ pushes back against. And the reason it's pushed back against is exactly that. He's trying to wake them up to the reality that the law, it doesn't serve them. They serve the law.
Yep.
In fact, they said it was contrary to them. You go to Colossians 2:13. For the law in Galatians, right? The law was contrary to us. It was a witness against us.
I don't see how people just read past this. Like, literally says that Christ died to redeem those under the law. It's like, I'm not under the law.
I know. They got to have their punishment, Josh. They got to have everybody that did them wrong and pissed them off. They got to burn it out.
You see how they project it, though, right? If you're not in Christ, you're under the law. They just act like the law was given to all of humanity. They don't, right? And they try to justify that with the garden narrative, right? All of mankind falls in the garden, and then the law is given to the people of Israel. For some reason, it's only revealed to them, though, and not all of humanity. And yet, all of these laws they seem to be everywhere else at the same time. It's one of those things.
Yep.
I mean, they have the verse where he laid an axe to the root, and they were cut off from being a nation ever again before God.
Ever again.
That's the verse that HBI doesn't like. That the whole verse where it says that they will cease to be a nation before God forever, right? It's also something that whenever I mention that we are not spiritual Israel, that people get irritated by, because Israel is cut off, right? Physical Israel is cut off from being a nation before God forever. But in the new covenant, there is neither Jew nor Greek, right?
Yep, so nor male nor female.
Yeah, so the whole idea of spiritual Israel was only something necessary for the first century church to comprehend. We don't have to have that understanding, right? Because all that's left is humanity. They just garnered it under the idea of Israel.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's very clear when Paul goes through his letters, but Paul is still fighting that understanding of sacrificial law. So like in Acts chapter, 21? Acts chapter 21, when he goes up to Jerusalem, he's offering that sacrifice. David tried to say that was Hierosolymae, the temple of Heliopolis that Paul is going up to. Why the hell would he go up to that if that's supposed to be a good place and Paul's told not to go up to that place? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
They were hitching a ride on a spaceship, Josh.
That's the way it seems.
That's why he went up there. He went up there to hitch a ride on the spaceship.
It's WBI. This is white. This is white Hebrew Israelites. In other words, this is WHBI right here. That's what he's trying to pull. Seriously.
Really?
Well, no,
That's an
see, right,
interesting
because
take.
no, you got your whole Ezekiel clan, right? There's these group of people out there that just, they latch onto the idea that Ezekiel must be talking about spaceships, and then they just carry that theme through the rest of the Bible. I think David's one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's because they say the wheel within a wheel is a freaking spaceship.
Yep.
This is called ophonemes. This is what that Jewish culture believed in. Ophonemes. If you go back to, that would be Second Temple Judaism, or no. That would be First Temple Judaism, because that's before the captivity of King Nebuchadnezzar. So, HK wants to come up. HK wants to have a conversation. Let's see. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up?
So I'm new to the whole, somewhat new to the whole preterism thing, and futurist, was what I grew up with. So I think the biggest challenge, I think that I face, and I think you brought up the verse on Acts, was it 21? I think it was 21, 22.
Yeah,
but also Acts 1:11. So I think the clarity that I would need is you brought up a good point. Was he taken up in a spaceship? Or how? I guess what, in your opinion, how was he taken to heaven? Or what happened to Jesus?
All right, I'm gonna let Chris deal with this one, or Roger, because I got to jump on a call for work real quick. Okay, I'll talk to you guys here shortly.
Okay.
When we're dealing with something like the ascension, right? It says he's taken up and hidden in a cloud, right? So we don't get much more of a clear picture than that, really. That Christ is taken up and hidden in the cloud. Now, I have my view on this, and I'm sure others have their view on exactly what that means. But mostly it's the symbolism is that Christ is taken up and transformed, transmogrified from human form to spirit form.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So are you saying that he wasn't, like what it says here in 1:11, Acts 1:11 says that he goes into heaven. So you don't believe that he was taken up into heaven?
No.
Literally.
That's the context. That's the context. Is he's taken up into heaven? We might have differing views as to what that's symbolizing as far as his ascension goes. But the point is that he is taken up into heaven. He is transmogrified from human to spirit. The flesh that he was in consumed, completely done away with, completing the sacrifice. Christ then, according to Paul, becomes a life-giving spirit.
I see. So do you think during his resurrection he was here in the physical form?
Do I believe during his resurrection he was here in the physical form? Yes. I have a different take on what the resurrection was and how that went down. But if we go by traditional aspects of the resurrection, Christ was resurrected according to the text.
I see. Yeah. Okay. So then when in this chapter here, and it talks about Jesus returning the same way that he went. So then, if he was taken up in the clouds, or should we expect him to come back the same way?
Well, that's kind of the symbolic point. Christ is taken up and hidden in the clouds. In the book of Revelation, it says, "You will see me coming in the clouds." In the Old Testament, God comes in the clouds in judgment upon Babylon. This term, coming in the clouds, is a term always used for judgment. So it says Christ would be coming in the clouds. This isn't a physical appearance of Christ, just as it wasn't a physical appearance of God. It's the clouds of dust of the Roman Empire as their armies approach the city of Jerusalem. These clouds of judgment, the armies of Rome being that judging force.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I understand your point. As far as the judgment language there, and that's could be symbolic. Throughout the Old Testament as well. So that makes sense. I guess I was just wondering if whether if it was going to be a literal Jesus return, or if it was just symbolic.
Yeah, it's symbolic in nature. The representing of his kingdom coming, not him coming, right? On the Mount of Olives, his disciples ask him, right? First, they come out of the temple in Matthew 24. They show him the buildings of the temple. He tells them not one stone there will be left upon another. They come to him adjacent from the temple on the Mount of Olives, where they ask him the question, when will these things be, referring to the destruction of the temple, the sign of thy coming and the end of the age, right? They don't know Christ is going to be crucified. They don't know he's going to go anywhere. What they're awaiting is the coming of a kingdom, right? So when is his kingdom going to arrive is what they are asking, not when are you coming back?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you think about like Zechariah 14? When it talks about like the Lord, being like, I guess, reigning, and
ruling and reigning. You're talking about the millennial reign, which is symbolic in nature, right? Let's take Abraham, for example. He's promised 1,000 generations, but he gets 42 generations until Christ. 1,000 is a number of completion. So is 40. It's also a number of completion. So we have the number 1,000, and we have 40, which is also a number of completion. Christ's disciples are ushering in his kingdom for 40 years after his ascension. They would be ruling and reigning with Christ as his sort of vassal kings here on earth, representing Christ and his kingdom, ushering in that kingdom. So this symbolically represents the 40 years between Christ's ascension and the fall of the temple. It would be this time period in which all these things would be complete, which is expressed in Revelation when it talks about the time of the Gentiles being completed in 42 months.
Mm-hmm.
I would, if I could interject, HK, another way you could look at it too, there's a verse that says God owns 1,000 cattle on 1,000 hills. We know that God owns more than 1,000 cattle on 1,000 hills, right? It's literally like, for example, if I say to you, I told you 1,000 times, it's not a literal 1,000 times that I told you. It just means a number of times and the completion of it. That's what that 1,000 means. It's not literal. I mean, although there are people that will argue that, but if you actually go back to the Greek and Kilios and all that and gain understanding, you're going to see it's not literal.
Yeah, well, I think when you see literal language about Jesus returning the same way as he left, and then when you see like Zechariah 14:4, when it says like his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives,
They did stand on the Mount of Olives, and he did split the nation, right? Because when it says the mountain would split, right, east to west, it's talking about the nation of Israel, not literally the Mount of Olives splitting. At the moment on the Mount of Olives, when Christ delivers this message to his disciples, Peter, James, John, and Andrew, the message he is delivering is one that is the impending destruction of Jerusalem. This message will divide the people of Israel, and in that, divide the mountain east to west. So it's dividing this nation. That nation is being represented by the Mount of Olives, and his heel was touching it at the time he said these words.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool to think about it, because when Christ is on the Mount of Olives and he's saying those words, that is the culmination of the events that are going to occur. It's almost like, if you think about it, it's almost, I think it was Matthew chapter 12, after the religious leaders sat there and said that Christ was casting out devils by the prince of devils. That's when he said, you can blaspheme the Father and the Son, but don't blaspheme the Holy Spirit. It's almost like right then and there, it's like that's when Christ knew that these people are out of their freaking minds. They suffer psychosis, and he can't do anything at this point, and it's going down. All right. So in Matthew chapter 24, when he says those words, he's standing on the Mount of Olives. He's saying those words, and he's saying it as if it's coming to pass now. He says, nation's going to rise against nation. Kingdom is going to come against kingdom. So he's like straight up telling them what's about to happen, what's about to go down.
Right. And he's talking, right. It does say his heel will touch down on the Mount of Olives. It will split the mountains east to west. But the point is, mountains represent nations. This mount, the Mount of Olives, represents Israel. And he is going to split the nation of Israel east to west. He didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. As he tells them, you must hate your mother, your father, your brother, and your sister. Take up your cross and follow me. Following my message is going to cause division between you and your loved ones, your family. All throughout this, he speaks of dividing the people of Israel. That is what it means when it says his heel would touch down on the Mount of Olives and split the mountain from east to west. So then... yeah. So when it going back to when it says like manner, again, the like manner is he is hidden in the cloud, not that he went up in physical form.
Yeah. So then, do you believe that Jesus reigns now?
Do I believe Jesus reigns now in the celestial divine way that he is eternal? Yes. In the fact that he. Yes, in that sense that he is an eternal being, part of that which is God, right? It says he would hand the kingdom over to God, right? And God would become all in all. Christ is no longer the mediator between God and man. We have a direct relationship with the Father. Christ was simply the mediator in transition between the old covenant and the new. So in that, I have a relationship with God. I believe God is in and through all things, and Christ's message continues on. So in that, Christ's reign is eternal.
So you believe that in the Trinity?
No, I don't believe in the Trinity. I don't believe in a triune God. I believe we are all God.
Yeah.
You are the temple, the kingdom is within you.
Yeah, but we're not the creator though.
There is no creator.
Yeah.
You're not the creation of God. You're what God became.
Exactly. You're evolving. You're the evolution of that which is conscious awareness.
So right? God in the flesh experiencing itself.
Yeah.
I see your point, but there's still a creator, because I mean this world and the universe. I mean,
no, it evolved. It evolved. God evolved into this creation, into this universe, into this world. God became all things.
Right. See, the Bible's not talking about the cosmological universe. The Bible's not saying that let there be light, bam. All right, that this world has evolved. And Chris, if I'm not mistaken, you actually believe that this materialistic world has always been here. Is that correct? It didn't just come out of nothing. It
it evolved over time. Everything evolved over time. 14 billion years of evolution, universal evolution, the universe evolving into all of this so that this planet could evolve into this, so that we could evolve into this. And at once, all of a sudden, this thing that is evolving certainly has a way to express itself through love, through emotion, through contact, through interchange, through integration and response. We are the living proof that the universe is aware.
Yep.
I would agree with that. I am one who believes that it's eternal both ways, that it has always existed in some form or another, and it keeps emerging.
Yeah, I mean, to say that the universe is aware, and for things to happen randomly, and evolve, because you could talk about like a macro evolution or like micro, whether it's adaptation, but I can't seem to get there on your perspective about that. It's
Well, no, I
random
think
chain of events to create a universe like this is just seems impossible to me.
And that's where you see it as a creation, and I see it as an evolution of God itself. God being the very building blocks of the universe, not a stagnant being that existed before time and space. A perfect God that has always existed would have no need to create anything. Perfection within itself is perfection, and there's no need to seek anything outside of it. But a God that's evolving, one that's changing, one that's growing, one that's learning, one that's reshaping itself. Now that's a God I can get behind. That's a God I can believe
I think
in.
that's a matter of opinion, because I mean, if a God wants to share love, then I mean, what's holding them back from that?
Why would it need anything outside of itself? It's perfect love in perfect union with its perfect self, according to what the Bible says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of I guess opinion then at that point. But yeah, I kind of see where you guys are at with preterism, but when it gets to the God point, I can't land there, so
You will one day. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's speculation either way. We don't, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, we don't even, I believe that there's God. I believe that something created all this, like started it in motion, and then it progressed. But
we are that, though. That's the entire point. We've always been. We always will be. So when you want to get down to the nitty gritty, if we've evolved over time, this lets you know that God is not some perfect creation, but God is expanding itself.
If the creation isn't perfect, the creator can't be perfect. This is the creator striving for perfection, and some reason or another, it chose this form, this human physicality, this earthly progression in order to reach that point of perfection. Not in instantaneous bounds, but in minute fractions, leaps forward at a time. And we've proven that as man has evolved forward, become more moral and more capable of evaluating the world from a different perspective, other than it's just take and fold. That's been the motto of life. We take and the other side folds. Now unification is becoming the prospect of our reality, at least the attempt.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I guess there's two different evolutions you're talking about there. Then we're not talking about from ape to human. We're talking about more
I believe that's a
adaptation.
reality too. I believe that's a reality too. Evolution's a reality. Evolution happened. The difference is your understanding of evolution would be God's not a part of the chain. My understanding of evolution is God is the chain. Literally, everything is a product of evolution, and God is the evolutionary process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe in adaptation evolution, but not like from one species to another, because it's not something that you can see happening. So you can't see it in front of you. It's like that's just theory. It's still theory.
You want to see it over the span of one lifetime, though. We're talking about 14 billion years, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're talking about we can't even fathom that.
There's not enough bone evidence to support that claim.
No, 300,000 years of humanity. 300,000 years of this form of humanity, and then the subsequent evolution up to that point. But here's the reality of that.
That's crazy.
When we go back to the beginning of all of this, right? Like I said, you see God as a stagnant God who's always existed outside of time and space. I see God as starting as potential, something that didn't just spring into existence, because nothing does. Everything has to evolve and come from somewhere.
Well, even humans, you start out as a little egg and you evolve inside your mother's womb, right? I mean, it's evident.
Right. So, Ali, you said evolution is BS. Well, I mean that's a matter of opinion. But you also said something about how preterism is based off of human perception. Well, it's the perception of the people of Israel. It doesn't have to deal with our perception. And their perception was that when their law fell, they would enter into the eternal age. And that's exactly what happened. So you can't use your perception to justify a text that was created 2,000 years ago and try to relate it to modern society today. It just doesn't work. All right? And if you try to make it work, you're just screwing it up completely. Okay.
What it also
Hey guys,
means-
I just want to say thanks for taking my question. Let me hop on here. So your insight was helpful.
No problem.
Could we also be mistaken about the fact that we need to understand that the people who wrote the Bible say that God is perfect and God is all-knowing, but that might not really be the case. This is just people's perception who are writing the text.
Well,
their perception in the ancient world was that if there was something that created humanity, that something must be higher than humanity. Thus, it's complete whole. And in their idea, that is perfection. Their idea of perfection and our idea of perfection were two totally different things. Their idea of perfection was something being complete and whole and having a full purpose. Our idea of perfection is without flaw.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they were talking about contentment. That's why Jesus says, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. But guys, I'm going to be getting going as it is.
I'm right behind you, Josh. I got to start making supper, or whatever I'm going to make. I don't know yet.
Oh, nice. Okay. Getting a head start.
Yeah, it's going to take me like at least an hour and a half to figure out what the hell I'm going to try to make.
Yeah, but... Yeah, you know, Josh, it throws them for a loop when I say I believe God evolved. I don't think that God just always existed. It throws them for a loop. Right? Because, I mean, we were all taught the same thing. God just always was. There just was, right? He's the beginning and end of all things, right? And now I understand that Christ is the beginning and the end of the old and new covenant. I get that part of it. And so now I know that God isn't the beginning and end of all things, and yet he is the beginning and end of all things, because from the beginning of all that we can understand and perceive, God was there. And from what we know of, God is here, and from what we can foresee in the future, God will be there, right? That same potential, that same process of seeking perfection, evolving forward, learning to interact and integrate with each other is going to be there. So, yeah, right? We end up with a God who's both eternal from our perspective, but something that evolved into existence.
And you know what, Chris? When you told me that, I had already thought that. And that's where me and Chris were like, I was like, yes, somebody else believes the way I believe, that God actually evolved over time and wasn't just all-knowing all this, you know what I mean? Like the Bible says.
I try to get people to understand, right? When it says God is all-knowing, when it talks about God being all-knowing, well, God's all-knowing. He knows everything. Everyone is thinking at all times, because we're all here. He knows everything that we possibly know up to this very point, because we're God. So, that's the omnipresence. That's the idea of God knowing all things. Does God know, what I'm going to do tomorrow, right? Well, yeah, but what if I do something else? Well, then he didn't know that, right? You remember the whole thing with Bender, right? When I did the post from Futurama where Bender meets God, right? It's all, does God know everything? Well, no, God only knows what we know up to the point that we know it as far as experience goes.
Yep. Yep, I agree 100%. And he's ever learning, always learning, just like we are. We're taking in that information and it's being fed like a Wi-Fi. That's what I believe.
That's a beautiful thing.
I'm gonna
Really
jump
is.
down right before you in, Josh. My grandboy is here. I'm gonna spend a little time with him and whatnot. But I do appreciate being up on the panel as always. It's always an enjoyment experience. And Chris and Babs, I'll talk to y'all a little bit later on tonight as well.
Sounds
Probably.
good,
Love
Roger.
you,
Talk to you
Raj.
later, Roger.
Love to
Josh,
see you.
Enjoy.
take it easy. I'm gonna go ahead and jump out.
All right, Chris.
Same here, same here. Love you, Josh. Thanks for having me up today. I just love coming up to talk with you guys.
Yeah, no, Babs, you came up at the perfect time because I wasn't far from starting this live.
Yeah, I came in on time this time.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
if you would have requested up like right now, it's like, oh shit, what's going
no,
on?
I don't want you to feel like that.
Yeah.
I love coming up and talking with you guys, and I think the ladies kind of like having a lady up here too, once in a while,
Absolutely.
And thank you, Josh. I love you very, very much, and hopefully we can grow this account and get it. Make sure everybody shares it, even with people that aren't like your preterist friends. Like, just share it out. Love you all. We'll see you soon. Bye.
All right, I love you, Babs. Have a good day. All right. Hopefully you figure out what you're gonna eat here in a couple hours. So, guys, thank you for coming up here. I truly appreciate you. Susan, you said something about uploading this live on YouTube. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to start uploading all these lives up there, seriously, because at this point, just a warning to everyone that wasn't in here earlier. I did get a little bit irate for a minute or two because there was some confusion and chaos going on, but I hope that this was a blessing for you guys today, and this really helped you. So much info we share in our own conversations. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's God's growing right now as we go through these messages, go through these lives. So, yeah, regained control. Absolutely holistic. That's it. Regained control. So, but guys, anyways, here in the next 2 weeks, right now, looking at May 14th, releasing the book, The Order of Melchizedek, Unveiling the Priesthood. Here's the first published edition. I mean, this isn't the full edition as it is, but this right here is going to change people's minds, their lives, their understanding on the biblical doctrine. It's going to be that edition right there is 33 chapters. The edition I'm actually bridging together will be 50 chapters, roughly about 450 pages, with over 2,000 scholarly references and notes. If you want to pre-order the book, a signed copy of the book, make sure to go ahead and put something in the comments. That way Missy can take names for pre-orders, and I'm sure we'll get more along the way. I'm looking at probably getting all this together here within the next week or so, because that's when the full publishing should be good. All right. So we got quite a few people. Holistic wants to be on the list. Sea Flyer. Babs talked to you about it. Mindy. Take my name down, please. Einar. All right. So forth. And I'm sure we'll get more along the way as it is. Heather said she wants to be on the list as well. I'm sure we'll get quite a few people along the way as it is. I'm going to make sure to make some videos about it as well. Looks like Vale. And so the thing about it is, just to give you guys a little bit of background, this book is not going to be like anything you've read. And I'm not just saying that because I want to say that. I'm saying that because it takes a completely new spin in understanding, all right? a completely new spin in understanding on the biblical doctrine, with fulfilled eschatology, with the Melchizedek order, with the conscious awareness of that which is God. And I truly believe that by the time everyone gets through, maybe with the first 10 chapters, you're not going to have any doubts in your mind that this is completely correct. All right? Yeah, make sure to send Missy a DM too. That would be so helpful, she said. Make sure to add her if that's something you guys want to do with this pre-order. So, but guys, anyways, I'm going to be jumping up off here. I'll probably go live tomorrow. We'll see. I'm going to have to charge my phone. I'm going to go play a little bit of guitar, I think. I'm learning a new solo called Tornado of Souls by Megadeth. That solo right there is like one of the toughest. I started learning it a couple of days ago. I'm like 85% through it right now. That's definitely a fun one. But all right, guys. Anyways, I love you all. Be blessed. Have yourself a lovely day as it is. Make sure to go ahead and share this live with people here in the coming days as it is, and hopefully we can do something here soon. So. All right, anyways, I love you all. Be blessed. Have your guys yourself a lovely, lovely day, a lovely Friday. It is Friday officially, and we'll talk here soon. See you guys then.